Chapter 90. Chapter 90, Dark Silver Guard. According to news received from Golden Dragon Palace, the Dark Silver Guard launched a mission this month with the target of assassinating a Golden Dragon Guard to obtain the Golden Dragon Ring. There was a Dark Silver Guard team with 12 members which successfully entered the innumerable huge mountains. Mission requirements: to kill at least 5 Dark Silver Guards and take their purple soft swords with specific numbers that the Dark Silver Guards carry all the time as evidence. Award: 1,000 points for killing a Dark Silver Guard and 3,000 points for killing a Dark Silver Guard leader. After reading the whole mission scroll, Jian Wushuang looked weird. Was the warrior in silver, "I killed a Dark Silver Guard"? Jian Wushuang looked at the purple soft sword carved with a number 11. Obviously, it was the specific number of the Dark Silver Guard. The Dark Silver Guard set the Golden Dragon Guard as a target for their mission. When Dragon Palace got the news, a disciple of Dragon Palace, was sent to stop the Dark Silver Guards. Well, what they plan and conspire are so complicated. Jian Wushuang silently smiled, but took it seriously in his heart. The Stage 1 task was quite easy for him. However, Stage 2 made him feel stressed. It should be known that it was a Dark Silver Guard team with 12 members in the profound Gold Core realm. All members were good at rapid and stealthy assassination. What's more, they were elusive. It was not easy to set them as the targets. It's good news that members of the team are dispersed in the innumerable huge mountains. I only need to assassinate 5 Dark Silver Guards to fulfill the task, and this is possible. Jian Wushuang thought. By late noon of the next day, the mountains were still in darkness. Leader Ba Yan, in front it is the periphery of the innumerable huge mountains. We do not need to worry about being the targets of others after we arrive there. Jian Wushuang said. Swordsman, are you sure that you want to adventure alone in the innumerable huge mountains? Ba Yan asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Could you please extend the deadline of the task of 2 claw-marked Golden Dragon Guard when you return to Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace? Then when I return next time, I can complete it with the Golden Horn. No problem. See you next time, Ba Yan said. See you, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Swordsman, Yi Mei looked at Jian Wushuang with mixed feelings and did not know what to say next. The innumerable huge mountains were immense. There were old trees aged tens and even hundreds of years around. Overgrown weeds and thorns were everywhere. The black-robed youth with a long sword walked alone in the jungle. He seemed to be relaxed and carefree, but his spiritual power was at the ready constantly. He looked around with vigilance. It has been 2 days. He slowly raised his head. It had been 2 days after he left Ba Yan and had walked alone into the innumerable huge mountains. He encountered many spirit beasts and even a few human warriors, but he had not encountered Dark Silver Guards again. Well, the innumerable huge mountains are so immense. What's more, there are just 12 Dark Silver Guard, and one of them was killed by me. It is so difficult to find out the rest of the members. After all, they are spread out. Jian Wushuang slightly nodded his head. Suddenly, he noticed a spirit beast crawling hundreds of meters away. Then, he came up with an idea. Since I'm unable to find them, let's see if I can make them come to me instead. Next moment, there was an outburst of spiritual power from Jian Wushuang, and it flew directly at the spirit beast, which was only at the level of initial Gold Core realm. A fierce battle broke out within a moment. With Jian Wushuang's strength, it would have been quite easy for him to kill the spirit beast at the level of initial Gold Core realm. However, this battle lasted a long time. Boom, boom, boom. The booming sound thundered, and many trees around the battlefield fell over, some of which were even crushed. The ground was pitted with holes and sword scars, looking like a scene of great devastation. Judging from the battlefield, it seemed like a close battle. They made a huge racket when slaughtering, which gave the impression to people far away that it was a ferocious battle. Of course, all of this was caused by Jian Wushuang deliberately. The reason was quite simple: to attract Dark Silver Guards through the sounds of fighting. The reason why the Dark Silver Guards were here was to kill Golden Dragon Guards. So, they would be attracted where there were battles. If there was a Dark Silver Guard around Jian Wushuang, he would be attracted and immediately reveal himself. Obviously, Jian Wushuang was not very lucky. He deliberately slaughtered with the spirit beast for a long time, but the Dark Silver Guards were not attracted. It happened to attract another 2 spirit beasts, and one of them was at the level of profound Gold Core Realm. It seems that the Dark Silver Guards are not around. I'd better move to another place. Jian Wushuang immediately left. After an hour, he appeared in a place tens of meters away and slaughtered with a spirit beast at the level of initial Gold Core Realm again, and still made a tremendous sound. In the dense forest, whoosh, a figure like a ghost rapidly passed the trees and then soon stopped at the top of a big tree. The warrior in silver with a bony face was one of the members of the Dark Silver Guard team. The task has been going on for half a month, but I have only got 16 golden dragon rings. The warrior in silver frowned. It's too few. I have to hurry up and try to gain 50 before the deadline. 16 golden dragon rings meant he had killed 16 golden dragon guards. Suddenly, boom, a deep, booming sound was heard at a distance. What? The warrior in silver changed color. The booming sound suggested that there was a slaughter ahead. I hope that there will be golden dragon guards. There was a cold light flashing in his eyes. Then he rapidly moved towards the source of the commotion. After a moment, the warrior in silver arrived at the vicinity of the battlefield. He stood behind a tree to observe what was happening in the forest. He noticed that a black-robed youth was slaughtering with a lion spirit beast using a longsword, and that the slaughter was intense. At first, Warrior in Silver was astonished at this scene. How can a warrior at the level of spiritual C be able to slaughter with a spirit beast at the level of initial Gold Core Realm? But later, he observed that there was a golden ring of heaven and earth in the hand of the black-robed youth. Golden Dragon Ring? The eyes of the warrior in silver were bright, and there was a weird smile on his face. It seems that I'm able to immediately get the 17th Golden Dragon Ring. Chapter 91. Chapter 91. Who is the prey? On the bumpy earth, Jian Wushuang was vehemently fighting with a Moonfire Lion, who was in the initial Gold Core Realm. If he wanted to, Jian Wushuang could have easily killed the Moonfire Lion, but it was obvious that he did not intend to do so. It's the third time that I've had a fierce fight with a spirit beast and deliberately made tremendous noises. Are there any Dark Silver Guards around that will be attracted by it? Jian Wushuang was not sure, because only other spirit beasts had been attracted the last 2 times. The intense battle continued for a while, and then Jian Wushuang very fiercely killed the Moonfire Lion. A silver-haired man, standing behind a nearby tree, watched this scene silently. At the moment, he concentrated his attention and then quietly rushed out. Beat the air again? Jian Wushuang felt pity as he went to pick up the core of the Moonfire Lion. At that moment, a slight wind came suddenly. Common warriors, even the warriors in the profound Gold Core Realm, might not have been able to sense such a light sound, but Jian Wushuang could hear the sound clearly because he had comprehended the sword ascents of Gale. He's finally come. Jian Wushuang felt happy, and in the next moment, He turned around and looked over. That warrior in silver was worthy of being a professional killer of the Dark Silver Guard. He picked a very good time for assassination, as Jian Wushuang had his back toward him. When he burst out, he directly stabbed at Jian Wushuang's neck with a purple soft sword. The sword was so fast, and the warrior in silver was full of confidence with this move. How wonderful the opportunity is, and what a perfect assassination. Even if he is a real expert in the profound gold core realm, he could not withstand my sword. There is no doubt that this guy is going to die, and the 17th golden dragon ring will be had. The warrior in silver smiled to himself, along with the smile on his face. But unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang, who had his back toward him the entire time, suddenly turned around with a pair of cold eyes. And then Jian Wushuang grinned at him. That smile gave a sudden scare to the warrior in silver. Damn. As a Dark Silver Guard, years of experience told him that he had fallen into a trap. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly fought back. Shua! A beautiful scarlet sword light blazed out and instantly confronted the purple soft sword of the warrior in silver directly. However, in the next moment, that scarlet sword light disappeared like an unreal image. When it appeared again, the sword had arrived at his chest. What? The warrior in silver was shocked. He was violently beaten back the first time. The scarlet sword light flashed across his chest. His silver cape was torn, and a long wound appeared on his chest. How powerful! The warrior in silver was intimidated. He was not good at face-to-face slaughtering. He was in the profound gold core realm, at least. However, when he fought with Jian Wushuang, he felt that he had gone through Gate of Hell after just one encounter. At this moment, the strength that was revealed by Jian Wushuang even horrified him. He should have had the self-confidence to take Jian Wushuang as prey just now, with the purpose of taking that golden dragon ring that was in his hand. But now it seemed, out of the two of them, who was the hunter and who was the prey? You are a Dark Silver Guard, right? Jian Wushuang suddenly asked. Huh. The warrior in silver looked up at Jian Wushuang with astonishment. How could he know his identity? I have taken your purple soft sword. A grin spread over Jian Wushuang's face. Then, as he moved, the spiritual power in his body broke out, while sword essence violently rushed into sky simultaneously. Shua! As it stabbed, the sword shadow made people feel that it was slow, but in fact, its true speed was so fast that it was scary. The fourth move of formless swordsmanship, 100 variations. The warrior in silver was scared and had intended to stop it, but that sword was too fast. When he just raised the purple soft sword in his hand, that slow sword had appeared in front of his throat, and then pierced his throat directly. Jian Wushuang picked up the purple soft sword from the warrior in silver and looked at the engraving 9 on its sword hilt. 2 purple soft swords. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then he checked the ring of heaven and earth left by the man in silver. As expected, like that Dark Silver Guard from before, both of them had collected a lot of golden dragon rings. This time, there are 16 in total, which means that he had killed 16 golden dragon guards. Jian Wushuang was astonished. The true strength of these Dark Silver Guards was actually not frightening, but their ability of assassination was indeed so strong that people in the profound gold core realm might be directly killed if they were careless. Keep moving. Jian Wushuang continued to go further in the innumerable huge mountains. Just like before, he stopped at each section of the road to find a spirit beast in the initial gold core realm and impetuously fight with them. He deliberately made it a big scene, so he could attract the Dark Silver Guards that came on their own initiative. But unfortunately, his luck seemed to have completely run out. Over the next 3 days, Jian Wushuang did not come across a third dark silver guard. In the innumerable huge mountains, a breeze blew with a mild bloody odor. "Be careful! Buck up," a man said in a low voice, and a small team with a dozen people slowly moved ahead in the jungle. Most of them in this small team looked pale, even some of their eyes were full of terror. Suddenly, the grass in the front shook. "Who is it?" A sudden shout was raised, and all the people in the team looked over at the grass. Crash! The grass then parted to two sides. A black-robed youth, wearing a long sword, slowly appeared in front of these people. It was Jian Wushuang. "Huh." Jian Wushuang looked up at this small team of a dozen people without any astonishment in his eyes. The innumerable huge mountains were boundless. There were a lot of nature treasures and countless spirit beasts. It was a perfect place for warriors to cultivate themselves, so it was common to encounter other people occasionally. When seeing Jian Wushuang, the whole team felt nervous, but soon after, they perceived that Jian Wushuang was only a warrior at the level of spiritual sea, so they relaxed. "Where does this reckless dude come from? Get out now!" The team's leader, who had bird eyes, immediately shouted. "Someone in the spiritual sea realm dares to adventure in the innumerable, huge mountains alone. You are really heading for death." The rest of the team members also laughed at him, which lightened the tense atmosphere at that moment. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. He was not angry about their words, but their expressions attracted his attention. These people obviously feel some degree of fear, Jian Wushuang thought. People who dare to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains generally have experienced life and death, so it's impossible for common things to make them feel scared. Unless Jian Wushuang glanced at their hands quickly, and there surely were 4 people who wore golden dragon rings on their fingers. Chapter 92. Chapter 92. The Mutation of Sword Soul. "It seems that I am being watched." With a cryptic smile, Jian Wushuang said nothing to the people in front, moving into the jungle quickly and vanishing from their view. After Jian Wushuang left, someone in the team started to talk. "What a surprise! I initially thought that he was that guy. Unexpectedly, he's a warrior at the level of spiritual sea." A warrior with just a level of spiritual sea dares to adventure in the innumerable, huge mountains. He must be really bold. I think he isn't bold, just suicidal. These 2 men were walking abreast and talking. Suddenly, a silvery, ghost-like figure appeared in front of one man, while a sword light stabbed at him. The man could react. After the sword light slashed across his throat, he was immediately killed. Just as quickly, the silvery, ghost-like figure disappeared. "Hey, do you think that the horrible guy has left?" The other man was still talking to that man and looking towards him. He saw the corpse of that man slowly falling to the ground. "Oh!" The strong man screamed, and all the other members of the team came over for a look. "What happened?" they asked. "This asshole. It's him again. He's coming. The bad guy. He's coming again. Devil. Devil. He's a devil." Suddenly, the whole team became restless and terrified again. It should be known that this team originally had over 30 people, but now there was just a half alive. The other half of them were killed by this devil. From start to end, they had not even seen the devil's face clearly. Whoosh! The sound of rushing wind was heard again. A silvery figure, like a ghost, moved swiftly and showed up in front of the strong man. The strong man saw a sword light with difficulty, and then was killed directly. The silvery figure moved toward the jungle again. "It's so easy to kill these people." The dark silver guard laughed. Shortly after he had just entered the jungle, he found a black-robed youth standing here. With his hand clasping his wrists behind his back, the black-robed youth watched him with interest. It seemed that the black-robed young man had been waiting for him. "Who and what are you doing here?" The dark silver guard felt surprised, but the black-robed youth in front of him had already started to attack him. The dark silver guard was outclassed by a formidable sword shadow filled with strong earth sword essence. The dark silver guard changed his countenance at once and hastily brandished his purple soft sword to parry. Bang! The sword shadow hit the purple soft sword and twisted it due to the powerful force. The dark silver guard felt his palm numb and a stinging pain. He flew out of the jungle and staggered back a few steps before standing firmly. Shwa! All of the people in the team with more than 10 members looked at him together. "Damn it," the dark silver guard said, and had a ghastly expression. The seventh, the other silvery figure showed up at the side of the dark silver guard, staring with alertness at the black-robed youth, who was walking towards them slowly. "Oh, there are two guys?" Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and felt delighted secretly. Jiang Wushuang followed the team before. Perceiving the countenance of the people in the team, Jiang Wushuang guessed that they might be under surveillance of the dark silver guard. So he didn't leave and hid in the jungle. As he expected, the dark silver guard appeared. But lucky for him, the team was waylaid by two instead of only one dark silver guard. 2 for 1. "Who are you?" The man with bird eyes, the leader of the team, shouted to them immediately when he saw Jian Wushuang and two dark silver guards. All the other members took a deep breath and waited to see what would happen next. "It's not a matter of who I am. You need to know that they're targeting to your team, and I am targeting them." Jian Wushuang laughed and said, "Those two guys staring at us." The man with bird eyes looked at the two dark silver guards and said, "The devils? Are them?" "Two warriors who are in the profound gold core realm." Immediately, the whole team became restless. With a solemn expression, the two dark silver guards did not care about the man with bird eyes and his team, but they were afraid of Jian Wushuang standing in front of them. Although Jian Wushuang's cultivation of spiritual power was just at the level of spiritual C, no one dared to regard him as a common spiritual C realm warrior in terms of that movements he showed just now. "Old Seventh, we are exposed. It's not our strength to slaughter directly. We should leave now. Hurry up." The dark silver guard, who had never fought with Jian Wushuang, said, "Okay." The other dark silver guard nodded heavily. Both of them transformed into beams of flowing light and fled into the jungle at the side. "Ha, do you think you can escape?" A cold voice emerged, and then Jian Wushuang stabbed at the two dark silver guards with his triple kill sword. The sword shadow moved so quickly and was like a flash of lightning streaking through the void. A gust of wind roared. The wind stopped, and the swords fell to the ground at the same time. Everything returned to peace. The two dark silver guards' eyes widened in shock. They looked incredulously at their chests, which had been poked through. The two dead bodies dropped to the ground at the same time. Jian Wushuang held the triple kill sword with blood dripping from the sword edge. "I have already mastered the fifth move of the formless swordsmanship." Jian Wushuang's lips curled into a small smile. The fifth move of the formless swordsmanship was faster and more ruthless than the fourth move, 100 variations. The sword was brandished. The wind stopped, and then the sword dropped. The two dark silver guards were already dead. They are also warriors in the level of profound gold core realm, but are far from the disciples of Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang looked down at the two corpses, shaking his head secretly. The disciples of Dragon Palace were the talents who comprehended the essence realm of heaven and earth to a high level at the Dragon Palace. a disciple of Dragon Palace in the level of profound gold core realm, was able to compete with the warriors in the level of exceptional gold core realm. However, Jian Wushuang had beaten a disciple of Dragon Palace who was in the level of profound gold core realm. It was really easy for him to kill warriors at the level of gold core. Moreover, the formless swordsmanship he mastered was the ultimate sword skill, which stressed speed. As long as Jian Wushuang used the fifth move of the formless swordsmanship, the two dark silver guards had no chance to struggle and would be killed immediately. After killing the two dark silver guards and picking up their purple soft swords and rings of heaven and earth, Jian Wushuang was far too busy to care about the shocked expressions of those people around him. He turned around and wanted to leave. After he had walked several steps, he stopped suddenly. "What?" Jian Wushuang said. With unprecedented shock in his eyes, he looked out into the distance. He still could see the vibrant jungle, but at this moment there was a kind of strange feeling emerging in his heart. Meanwhile, a mysterious strength from the sword soul within his body gradually emerged. The sword soul, his sword soul was waking up. Although his sword soul was awakening, he didn't know what it was. He just knew that because of the awakening of sword soul, he could comprehend sword essence with an astounding speed. But now it was his first mutation after the awakening of sword soul. Chapter 93. Chapter 93. Abyss. Jian Wushuang had an odd feeling because he felt a sense of attraction. It seemed that something in front, not far away, was summoning and calling to him. To be exact, it was summoning and attracting his sword soul. What on earth is there? What is summoning me? Jian Wushuang leaped to a branch of a big tree, looking forward. Hesitating for a while, Jian Wushuang decided to investigate. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang directly rushed forward, and he also found that as he was getting closer and closer, his sword soul felt stronger and stronger. Likewise, the attractive summoning power. In the meantime, Jian Wushuang rushed toward the source of that power. Meanwhile, in the mountain forest, where Jian Wushuang had killed two dark silver guards. Humph! Is it these two fuck guys that killed so many teammates? The bird-eyed man and other teammates approached the corpses of the two dark silver guards. They thought the one that had spied on them and killed several dozen teammates was a devil, a demon. But now, looking carefully, they found that they were also ordinary mortals without 3 heads and 6 arms, and only possessed cultivation of profound gold core realm. Pooh! 2 bastards! Useless! The rest of the team were all cursing. Some of them were spitting at the 2 dark silver guards. No one noticed that a coquettish shadow had already appeared in a nearby tree. It was a lady with a bleak face. She was quite beautiful in silver, tightly holding a purple soft sword whose hilt was carved with the number 1. Lao Lu, Lao Chi. Standing in the tip of the tree, the severe-looking lady observed the corpses of the 2 dark silver guards at a glance, and a frozen killing intent flashed in her eyes immediately. Are they? The frosty lady took action at once. They were still cursing when a coquettish shadow moved suddenly. Ah! Ah! 2 miserable shrieks sounded in succession. The next moment they felt panic. Devil? Devil again. Hadn't he been killed already? Shit! He hasn't! He is coming again. Amidst those frightened voices, the blurry silver shadow moved, again and again, killing people crazily. Just after a while, there were numerous corpses on the ground. Dozens of teammates were dead except the leader, the bird-eyed man. But his arms had already been chopped off. He had lost the ability to struggle. Good-for-nothings. You aren't likely to kill Lao Lu and Lao Chi. Tell me who killed them. The bleak lady turned up in front of the bird-eye man, interrogating. The bird-eyed man had been frightened into numbness and immediately told everything he knew. Spiritual sea realm. Lao Lu and Lao Chi were killed just by a spiritual sea realm. The bleak lady's face clouded over. When she waved her hands, a sword directly pierced through the bird-eye man's throat. And then she chased toward the direction where Jian Wushuang left. Pursuing the sense of fate, Jian Wushuang soon came to the convergence of two mountains. However, the convergence was cut off in the middle by a dark, bottomless abyss. What is this? Jian Wushuang stood nearby the abyss, looking upon the bottom of the dark abyss where the chilly wind blowing. Swoosh! A chilly wind blew on both sides of the mountain wall with a crackling sound. Meanwhile, some mountain stones were blown off. Horrible wind! Jian Wushuang was astonished and knew where this was. The abyss is well-deserved as the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Jian Wushuang looked grim-faced. Before leaving for innumerable huge mountains, he had gotten a map of it. There was information about the natural dangers on it, including the abyss. The abyss, located at the convergence of two great mountains, was bottomless. There was a strong chill wind blowing into the abyss. The force of this chill wind was so terrible that rocks would be cracked into pieces, not to speak of the human body. However, a human warrior could generate a shield of spiritual power to forcibly withstand these chill wind. However, the most terrifying aspect of the abyss was absolutely not the chill wind, but its mystery. Since the abyss had appeared, over a long period, a great many strong warriors, including some warriors of Yin-Yang Void Realm, had attempted to explore it, but they only could enter within a kilometer. Once exceeding that, no one could get out alive. So until now, nobody knew what existed at the bottom and what the secret was. Unknown. Mysterious. As such, the abyss was so frightening and universally acknowledged to be the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Is it the abyss that attracted me all this time? There was a hint of shock in Jian Wushuang's eyes. The abyss was well known, mysterious, and terrible. What on earth was attracting him over there? Is it the ancestors' land that Aunt had told me before? Jian Wushuang remembered it spontaneously. Ancestors' land. Jian Wushuang also did not know what it was. Ji Wuyue had told him to carefully keep the triple kill sword, the only token to enter the ancestors' land. In his view, it seemed that in the abyss, the only thing deeply attracting him was the ancestors' land. Of course, Jian Wushuang was uncertain whether it was the ancestors' land below the abyss. Even if confirmed, he dared not go down now. Seriously, it was the abyss. Among other things, he was unable to withstand the chill wind with his present strength. It was no different from going to hell if he entered the abyss impulsively. I should explore it after my strength is increased, murmured Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt very curious to find that there seemed to be a relation between the abyss and the ancestors' land. But what made him happy was the changes in his body. Sword Soul, are you completely awake? Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Just on the way, his power of Sword Soul hidden in the body was continually improving, becoming stronger and stronger. Until now, the power of Sword Soul had reached a completely new level. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang also found that there was something new in his brain. Chapter 94. Chapter 94. Crisis. In the vast sea of consciousness, a streak of sword-shaped phantom floated there silently, looking transparent and dreamlike, just like glass, but brighter than ever. The moment that Jian Wushuang recognized this streak, he knew that it was the Sword Soul. Previously, the Sword Soul just began to awaken and had not taken form yet. However, now the Sword Soul had awoken thoroughly and formed a solid sword-shaped phantom. I'm wondering what would happen after my sword's soul evolved into the sword-shaped phantom. Jian Wushuang was curious, but now the sword-shaped phantom just silently floated in the sea of consciousness, so he could not find out anything. Maybe it would be helpful to my sense of sword essence. Jian Wushuang murmured with a smile. But at that moment, what? Jian Wushuang sensed a sudden feeling of fear, and he turned his head in a rush only to see an alluring silver figure dashing toward him with a purple soft sword. The chilling light reflected by the sword edge surprised Jian Wushuang, and the cold and murderous look in her eyes frightened him. So fast, much faster, and more terrifying than the 4 dark silver guards that I fought before. Jian Wushuang wanted to retreat, but obviously the sword edge flickering with purple light had already approached him. Jian Wushuang had no time to take out his sword and parry, but he tried his best to force his body to one side. This move had allowed him to avoid hurting vital parts of his body. Shua! The cold sword edge crossed Jian Wushuang's shoulder, tearing his clothes up as blood spattered. A 2-centimeter blood stain emerged from his chest to his shoulder. Seeing this blood stain, even as tough as Jian Wushuang was, he could not stop a chill from going up his spine. Just at that moment, he would have been a dead person if he had reacted even a little bit slower. He could avoid hurting his vital parts. That cold-faced woman looked surprised when Jian Wushuang survived her attack, and then she retreated rapidly. Trying to escape now. Too late, Jian Wushuang shouted, and then he withstood the sharp pain from his shoulder, dashing out with the triple kill sword. A gust of wind roared. This sword movement, having a look of fear, the cold-faced woman thrust out her purple soft sword. Clang! The 5th movement of the formless swordsmanship, which Jian Wushuang had used, was blocked by the cold-faced woman. She then fled into the woods behind Jian Wushuang. "Haha, do you think you can escape?" Jian Wushuang said with a snort and lifted the triple kill sword up high. His tremendous earth sword essence condensed gradually, forming a huge 3-meter-long and half-meter-wide sword-shaped phantom. Formless sword wave, the 8th move. The majestic phantom quaked a little and directly slashed toward the woods, where the cold-faced woman was hiding. The huge sword-shaped phantom showed its power. The power struck heaven and earth. Immediately, a large number of trees collapsed. Some were even pulled up from their roots. The cold-faced woman was exposed to Jian Wushuang at once. "Found you," Jian Wushuang said with a fleeting murderous gaze. The cold-faced woman was deeply shocked by the big patch of rupturing woods. And at that moment, a gust of wind blew over that almost burst her head. Right away, she was buried in the wind. And then the wind dropped and the swords fell on the ground. The surroundings totally calmed down. Jian Wushuang walked slowly toward the dead body of the cold-faced woman, with his hands covering the bleeding wound on his shoulder. The dead woman's wide-open eyes were filled with shock. A woman, Jian Wushuang, looked down at the dead body. Although it was a woman, Jian Wushuang did not dare to underestimate her at all. It was this cold-faced woman that had nearly killed him. Leaning over to take her purple soft sword, Jian Wushuang stared at the number on the sword hilt. Just as I thought. Jian Wushuang understood what happened when he saw the number 1 carved on the sword hilt. She was the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. Jian Wushuang was not surprised. The cold-faced woman was far superior to the Dark Silver Guards that he had met before. Just the time that she chose to attack, the speed that she burst in an instant, the determination that she had to kill, and the sword that she thrust out almost got him into big trouble. Only the leader of the Dark Silver Guard could possess such powerful assassination skills. regarding the points reward of the Stage 2 missions distributed by the Dragon Palace. To kill an ordinary Dark Silver Guard could only earn you 1,000 points. To kill a leader of a Dark Silver Guard, however, was 3,000 points. Such a big difference between the points made it reasonable for such a great difference in their strengths. With this purple soft sword of the leader of Dark Silver Guard, I have finished my mission for Stage 2. Jian Wushuang sighed slightly and looked over his shoulder unconsciously. The nearly 2-centimeter wound from his chest to his shoulder was still bleeding. The blood had reddened his clothes. I need to first find a place to bind up the wound and recover a little. Jian Wushuang left there immediately. After half a day, near a stream in the innumerable huge mountains. The sword lights were brandished one after another. After binding up the wound, Jian Wushuang had started to practice his swordsmanship. The wound on his shoulder was indeed very severe, but the elixirs from the secret pavilion of the Dragon Palace were magical. After taking the elixirs for only half a day, the pain from the wound was alleviated, and he was getting better. He would recover in no more than 2 days. Flashes of sword shadows fleeted incessantly with straight stabbing or chopping, and every single sword rumbled with a slight heat. With Jian Wushuang practicing his swordsmanship faster and faster, the heat hidden in his swordsmanship became violent and fierce. Hua! Shouting out loud, Jian Wushuang brandished the triple-kill sword and chopped into a giant tree beside him. Bang! The giant tree, tens of meters high, burst from the middle. Watching this, a trace of a smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. Sword essence of raging fire. So, this is the sword essence of raging fire. After comprehending the sword essence of gale and the earth sword essence, Jian Wushuang had comprehended a third sword essence of raging fire. Sure enough, now that my sword soul has awakened totally, it is much easier for me to comprehend sword essence, Jian Wushuang said with a slight smile. Before the awakening, he had tried to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire many times, but always failed in the end. But now, he could comprehend the sword essence of raging fire with ease. There was only one reason that the sword-shaped phantom was formed in his sea of consciousness. After that, it was much easier and simpler to comprehend the sword essence. Chapter 95. Chapter 95, Stage 3 Task. Such a pity. Though I comprehend some sword essence of raging fire, I don't have the appropriate sword skill to display it now. There is nothing to do but exchange the appropriate sword skill of sword essence of raging fire after going back to the Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then leaped to the top of a big tree. Leaning against the tree trunk, Jian Wushuang took out the last task scroll. I've completed the Stage 1 and 2 tasks. What is the Stage 3 task? Jian Wushuang wondered with a slight expectation. He was assigned 3 tasks by the Dragon Palace this time. The first one was easy to complete, but the second one was much tougher, which almost killed him. And the third one, Jian Wushuang opened the scroll. After taking a glance at it, he unexpectedly stared with rounded eyes. On the scroll, read some words. Stage 3 task, kill 10 spirit beasts of the exceptional gold core realm. Task location, the innumerable huge mountains. Task description, lots of spirit beasts live in the innumerable huge mountains, and countless of them have reached the primordial gold core. Though being in the level of spiritual sea, you defeated a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm in a face-to-face battle. You are fully capable of killing spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Task points, whether these 10 spirit beasts of the fulfillment of the Golden Pill realm are strong or not, each one is worth 1,000 points. Bringing their bodies back to the Dragon Palace will serve as proof. Shit! Even Jian Wushuang could not help cursing while reading the stage 3 task. To kill spirit beasts. Spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. A full 10 of them. Are they kidding? Those elders in the Dragon Palace must want me to go to hell, Jian Wushuang said to himself. In the task description, it referred to a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm that was defeated by him face to face. Indeed, he did that. But how did he do it? It was not until Jian Wushuang made his opponent use up his spiritual power that he won the battle. However, he was completely suppressed when competing with Nangong Jia. Jian Wushuang clearly knew his strength. It was not a big deal for him to kill a common warrior in the profound gold core realm. But what about competing with the one in the exceptional gold core realm? He barely could compete with a common warrior in the exceptional gold core realm. He surmised that in the end, he would be suppressed. And to kill spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Firstly, it was much more difficult to kill spirit beasts than humans because of their different physical conditions. Secondly, spirit beasts in the gold core had intelligence. If they found that they could not beat Jian Wushuang, they would flee rather than foolishly continue to fight with him or even continuously consume their spiritual power. More importantly, Jian Wushuang was not as strong as a spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Cruel. They are so cruel. Jian Wushuang cursed while gnashing his teeth. But the good news was that the task time was unlimited. Therefore, he could make good preparations before killing those spirit beasts. 3 days later, Jian Wushuang targeted an armored tiger in the exceptional gold core realm. The armored tiger was strong in defense capabilities, but not so good in speed. Compared with others, it was relatively weak. At the very beginning, Jian Wushuang naturally chose a weaker one to fight with that was not a threat to him. Jian Wushuang quickly started to attack. Selecting the right time, he made a sneak attack. However, he did not get any advantage because the armored tiger reacted in time. Then, Jian Wushuang made good use of his swordsmanship and sword essence and started to fight with the shell-backed tiger. In this battle, the man and beast were neck and neck. However, the armored tiger chose to directly leave when it found that it could not beat Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could do nothing but let it go. Fighting with the armored tiger, he could not prevail at all, let alone did he kill it. Well, take it easy. He sighed and then spontaneously overlooked the endless mountains and woods far away. He knew that he might have to stay in the innumerable huge mountains for a long time. Things happened just as he had expected. There were lots of spirit beasts in the innumerable huge mountains. Spirit beasts in the gold core were countless, and spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm were also easy to find. Jian Wushuang wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains and fought with spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core, realm one after another. Jian Wushuang felt great pressure when fighting with any spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm. He tried his best in each battle. Such crazy slaughtering vastly improved his strength. Especially after his sword soul had completely awoken, he distinctly comprehended sword essence much faster than before. Even so, it was 2 months later that Jian Wushuang succeeded in killing the first spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm with great effort. As time went by, the hot summer had soon gone, and so had the autumn. Instantly, the cold winter arrived. Jian Wushuang had wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year. At the edge of the innumerable huge mountains, visible to the naked eye, a man who wore an animal skin and carried a long sword slowly walked out of the mountains. Judging by his appearance, he was a young man, but he had a calm and resolute face, and his exposed skin was bronzed. Even in the cold winter, this young man wearing thin animal skin did not feel cold at all. Innumerable huge mountains, I have finally gotten out. Jian Wushuang turned and glanced at the endless mountains and forests behind him. He smiled slightly with his mouth turned up. Staying in the innumerable huge mountains for more than half a year, he had suffered a lot and met with danger, several times that almost killed him. If he took off his animal skin, many scars on his body would clearly be seen. Most of them were inflicted by the claws of spirit beasts, and some of them were by humans. Among them, a 20-centimeter scar that extended from his breast to his shoulder was the most evident. He had also improved himself so much over these 6 months. And of course, he had completed the stage 3 task. There were a full 10 spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm, and their cores lying in his ring of heaven and earth. Walking along the official road, Jian Wushuang did not spend much time before returning to Moonheart City. The Golden Dragon subsidiary palace of Moonheart City was still bustling and boisterous. Jian Wushuang, in the animal skin, entered the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace and walked directly to the counter. A black-haired elder, who stood in front of the counter, had met Jian Wushuang half a year ago and knew his status. Therefore, when seeing Jian Wushuang again, he made a respectful face. "Your Excellency," the black-haired elder said in a low voice. No one else around them could hear it except for Jian Wushuang. "I came here to tell you about the task." Jian Wushuang took out a blue-eyed beast with golden horns, handed it over to the elder, and said, "The task was assigned half a year ago. Please wait a moment, Your Excellency." Immediately, the black-clothed elder carefully looked at the task list and quickly found the task that Jian Wushuang had accepted to catch the 2-clawed golden dragon guard. Chapter 96. Chapter 96. The target appears. "Your Excellency, please give me your golden dragon ring," the elder with gray hair said. Jian Wushuang handed him the ring without hesitation. Soon the elder returned it to Jian Wushuang and said, "Your Excellency, the task has been confirmed. From now on, you are a 2-clawed golden dragon guard of Golden Dragon Palace." Looking at the golden dragon ring, Jian Wushuang found that there were 2 claw marks which were the sign of a 2-clawed golden dragon guard. "Arrange a griffin for me, please. I'm going back to Dragon Palace." Jian Wushuang then asked, "Okay, I will do it right now," the elder with gray hair said, and nodded. At the very moment, a gentle middle-aged man in a white coat walked into the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace. Suddenly, the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace fell silent. All those present looked at that man. Inyang Void Realm. Is he a Golden Dragon ambassador? No, he isn't. He is the governor of Blizzard City, His Excellency Lin Yun. Yes, he is. It is said that His Excellency Lin Yun is a very kind and respectable good elder. People in Golden Dragon subsidiary palace were all in shock. It was very rare to meet such a supermaster of Inyang Void Realm. Jian Wushuang also looked over at that man. With a mild face, the gentle middle-aged looked elegant and cultivated, decent and smart. Besides, his eyes were very kind and warm. Generally speaking, a supermaster who was in Inyang Void Realm had an amazing deterrent power. But the gentle middle-aged man was very kind and friendly, which made it hard for people to fear him. Mr. He, the gentle middle-aged man, walked to the counter softly said, "Your Excellency Lin Yun." The elder showed great respect. "I'd like to assign a task. Please give me that task scroll." Lin Yun said very politely, "Okay, wait for a moment, please." The black-robed elder instantly went to take the scroll. Lin Yun waited in front of the counter with a slight smile. After looking around, he saw Jian Wushuang, who was also waiting in front of the counter. Lin Yun suddenly felt stunned, but he did not express it. "Little brother, may I know your name?" Lin Yun seemed to ask casually. Feeling startled, Jian Wushuang didn't expect that an elder of Yinyang Void Realm would talk to him, and instantly answered, "I'm Swordsman." "Swordsman?" Lin Yun showed a quirky expression without saying more. "Your Excellency Lin Yun, this is the scroll." The black-robed elder handed it over to Lin Yun and then looked at Jian Wushuang. "Your Excellency Swordsman, your griffin is ready. You can go outside the city." "Good." Jian Wushuang nodded, and then left Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. After Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun instantly asked, "Mr. He, what is that young man's status?" "He is just a warrior of spiritual sea realm." "Why do you call him your Excellency?" "Your Excellency Lin Yun." "That young man is great," the black-robed elder said with great admiration. "Great? Could he come from Dragon Palace?" Lin Yun asked again. The black-robed elder slightly smiled, but didn't reply. But Lin Yun had got the answer from his smile. "It is him." Lin Yun laughed brightly, and then quickly put down his pen, turning and leaving. "Your Excellency Lin Yun, you haven't assigned your task," the black-robed elder promptly asked him. "I'll come back later." Briefly replying, Lin Yun departed Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. Outside the Moonheart City, a golden-armored sergeant riding a griffin was waiting there. After arrival, Jian Wushuang directly sat on the griffin and then left for Dragon Palace. As soon as Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun suddenly appeared there. A griffin? Griffins flew so fast that Lin Yun couldn't catch up with it, even though he was a powerhouse of Yinyang Void Realm. Staring at the direction where Jian Wushuang disappeared, Lin Yun lost his mild smile and turned cold. Turning his hand, he had a portrait. The young man in the portrait was quite similar to Jian Wushuang in appearance. "It's him. Absolutely. It can't be a mistake. Scarlet must kill command. Jian Wushuang." Looked at the portrait. Lin Yun had an unprecedented killing intent in his eyes. No wonder they searched the whole Tianyan province, but could not find Jian Wushuang. Because he had left Tianyan province and gone to Dragon Palace, being a disciple of Dragon Palace. Lin Yun clenched his fists. People only knew that Lin Yun was the governor of Blizzard City, who was a very gentle and respectable man with a good reputation. However, he also concealed another identity, a purple mask killer of Bloodfeather Tower. "I finally found him. I have to report it right away." Lin Yun immediately went back to report the news. The news shocked the whole Bloodfeather Tower for a moment. Bloodfeather Tower paid more attention to Jian Wushuang than to anyone, as he was the target of a Scarlet Kill command. In a dim study, an old man in gray stood there with his hands behind his back, and two black-robed men in purple masks stood behind him. Killers with purple masks, the best killers in Bloodfeather Tower. In general, killers with purple masks were selected from super experts of Yinyang Void Realm. However, the two killers with purple masks now were standing respectfully behind the old man in gray. It could be presumed that the old man held an important status in Bloodfeather Tower. It is confirmed that the target of Scarlet Kill Command is using the pseudonym of Swordsman. He has been in Dragon Palace for more than 9 months and showed his great talent. After 3 months, he has defeated a disciple of profound Gold Core Realm and was able to pass through the 6th level of Dragon Gate, a killer with purple mask said respectfully. The old man in gray slightly narrowed his eyes, murmuring, "There are countless experts in Dragon Palace, the holy cultivation sanctuary. Even if all the purple mask killers of Blood Feather Tower attacked Dragon Palace at once, they would not be able to kill Jian Wushuang. Therefore, we cannot kill him until he leaves Dragon Palace again. Give out my order. Closely follow Jian Wushuang's every move from today. Report his behavior and experiences in Dragon Palace every 7 days. If there is a chance, the secret killer hidden in Dragon Palace should take action. His Excellency, Dragon Palace is very hard to infiltrate. We paid a great cost to plant the secret killer in it. Should we sacrifice him? A killer with purple mask instantly asked. What do you know? The old man in gray glanced at the killer with purple mask, snorting and saying, as long as we can kill him, we will sacrifice the secret killer. If necessary, both of you could be sacrificed. Both two killers with purple masks were shocked by what he said. At the same time, they eventually knew what a Scarlet Kill command was. Chapter 97. Chapter 97. Exchange. Back at Dragon Palace, Jian Wushuang submitted his tasks. At Stage 1, 2,000 points were awarded. In Stage 2 of the task, Jian Wushuang received 4,000 points for killing 4 ordinary Dark Silver Guards and 3,000 points for killing the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. In Stage 3 of the task, there were 10 spirit beasts at the level of Exceptional Gold Core Realm. Each one was worth 1,000 points, and so the total points were 10,000. Therefore, Jian Wushuang received a total of 19,000 points after adding up all 3 stages. Coupled with the 12,000 points won from the duel with Nangong Jie before, together with his own points, Jian Wushuang had an abundance of points now. After getting the points, he went to the secret pavilion immediately. In Secret Pavilion, firstly he needed to select a sword skill suitable for Sword Essence of Raging Fire. After picking and choosing, Jian Wushuang selected the sword skill of Blood and Fire. Sword skill of Blood and Fire was further divided into 2 volumes, and its exchange price was 6,000 points. It was even more expensive than the formless sword wave that he had exchanged for previously. Subsequently, he received 3 notebooks again. These notebooks were left by 3 strong men who were at the top level of Yinyang Void Realm. The 3 notes had very detailed explanations for Sword Essence of Gale, Sword Essence of Earth, and Sword Essence of Raging Fire, and helped Jian Wushuang a lot. Each one of these 3 notebooks was as valuable as the sword skill, and Jian Wushuang spent 6,000 points to exchange for these 3 notebooks. After that, Jian Wushuang began to exchange for some elixirs. 5,000 points for 1 bottleneck-breaking elixir. He exchanged for 3 bottleneck-breaking elixirs at a time, spending 15,000 points. 5,000 points for 1 golden sun pill, which he redeemed. Adding this up, it cost him another 20,000 points. I thought my points were quite a lot, but now there isn't much left. Jian Wushuang sighed inside. After all these things had been exchanged, he had only 3,000 points. But all these things were extremely useful, especially the sword skill of Blood and Fire and those 3 notebooks. Both the bottleneck-breaking elixir and the golden sun pill were used to prepare for his breakthrough. After he swallowed first-class heavenly spirit pill for half a year when he was in the innumerable huge mountains, and coupled with his speed at cultivating due to the heavenly creation skill, his spiritual sea had expanded to the extreme and was at the peak of ultimate spirit sea after half a year with boundless spiritual power. After this step was achieved, the next was to break through to gold core by any means. Bottleneck-breaking elixir, just as its name implied, was to break the barrier. After swallowing 1 bottleneck-breaking elixir, people could quickly touch that barrier. Thus they had a chance to achieve a breakthrough. As for golden sun pill, it was used when making a breakthrough. After all, there were risks when making a breakthrough, because sometimes the barrier still could not be broken through even if they touched it. However, the Golden Sun pill could minimize this risk. These two kinds of elixirs with astonishing high value were extremely rare in the outside world. Even in the secret pavilion, 5,000 points was needed for only one. At a lofty palace of the Dragon Palace. "My lord, swordsman is coming back," a purple-robed servant of Dragon Palace said. "Oh." With brow lifted, Palace Master White said, "Has he finished his experience tasks?" "Yes." Purple-robed servant nodded. "His experience tasks were arranged and carefully selected by me in person. I thought he needed at least 1 year to finish all these tasks, while it only took him half a year to finish them." "Well done," Palace Master White said with a smile. She thought highly of Jian Wushuang. It was because of her high opinion that the arranged experience tasks were more challenging, since these tasks for Jian Wushuang were arranged and selected by her in person. He received sufficient points this time, and should go to the secret pavilion to exchange for treasures. What did he exchange? The Palace Master White asked again. This is the list of the treasures he exchanged for. A purple-robed servant immediately handed over a list: 3 bottleneck-breaking elixirs and a Golden Sun pill. Palace Master White nodded slightly. It seems that he is ready to remove the barrier of reaching primordial gold core. 3 sword essence notebooks left by the strong. Palace Master White smiled with the normal expression. When she saw the last thing on the list, she frowned. Sword skill of blood and fire. People start to study that when they have comprehended sword essence of raging fire. So why did swordsmen exchange for it? Palace Master White knew that Jian Wushuang had comprehended both sword essence of the gale and the earth, but he had never comprehended sword essence of raging fire. Comprehending various sword essence at the same time can indeed result in stronger combat power, but everyone has limited energy, and becoming distracted will limit his achievements in the future. I hope this little guy is aware of this. Maybe he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. Palace Master White secretly thought. Treasures in the secret pavilion of Dragon Palace could be exchanged by the disciples of Dragon Palace as long as they had enough points. As for the usage after exchanging, it depended on the disciple, as he could give this sword skill to others after he had exchanged for it. At this moment, Palace Master White also hoped that Jian Wushuang had exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. If he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for himself, he would be too stupid. In the manner, Jian Wushuang had been taken away by Wang Yuan for a drink as soon as he came back. The third took a full 6 months to complete this time. Wang Yuan sighed. Tell me, what were your tasks for Stage 2 and Stage 3, and why did it take you so long to finish them? Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang directly told him his tasks, and the process briefly. Fuck 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm. Wang Yu's eyes widened in shock. 10. Su Ro could not help gasping in astonishment. Have you finished? Wang Yuan asked again. Of course, how could I come back without finishing the tasks? Jian Wushuang laughed. Shit, you are too strong. Wang Yuan smiled and said, you are just at the level of spiritual sea realm, even without a breakthrough of gold core, and you could kill 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm. You are formidable. Just a good luck, Jian Wushuang smiled. Only he himself knew how hard and arduous it was in the past 6 months to complete the task of killing 10 spirit beasts at the level of exceptional gold core realm. And where is the second? Jian Wushuang asked. When he came back, he saw Wang Yuan and Su Ro without Yang Zixuan. The second's experience tasks were easier than yours, and he is also so powerful, so it took him only a month to finish all the tasks of 3 stages. However, he received a new experience task after he just returned to Dragon Palace, and he hasn't come back yet Wang Yuan said. Another experienced task. Jian Wushuang sighed. The second was stimulated by the Earth Dragon list, and thus he is cultivating much more than anyone else, Wang said. Earthly Dragon list? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. He also longed for a placing on the Earth Dragon list very much, but his strength was still far from it. The second works very hard, so I also should work harder, Jian Wushuang smiled. Chapter 98. Chapter 98. Excoriation. It was night, within the empty ground of a manor. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Streaks of scorching sword shadow were chopped out fiercely one after another, and the high temperatures seemed to burn the air. Soon after, Jian Wushuang sheathed his sword and stood still. As a 6,000-point valued sword skill of blood and fire is way better than formless sword wave in the term of power, and its moves are more exquisite. I can only execute the fifth move with my current ability. I have to study for a period of time before executing the sixth move, Jian Wushuang said to himself. However, it would definitely shock many if they knew that Jian Wushuang could execute the fifth move of sword skill of blood and fire. If a man could execute the fifth move of sword skill of blood and fire, it meant that he could pass the seventh level of Dragon Gate without difficulty. Everyone in the Dragon Palace knew that Jian Wushuang was most versed in the sword essences of both the gale and the earth. In addition, the sword skill of blood and fire was just exchanged from Secret Pavilion that day. Early morning the next day, Jian Wushuang entered the Hall of Fire, which was one of the four halls of earth, fire, water, and wind. Today, a palace master would give a lesson in the fire temple. Although Jian Wushuang had comprehended the sword essence of raging fire for half a year, he comprehended it by himself. Therefore, in the Dragon Palace, he would listen carefully to the palace master. Casually sitting in the corner of the fire temple, Jian Wushuang relaxed with closed eyes and awaited the palace master. The surrounding disciples of Dragon Palace looked at him from time to time with a weird gaze. He's swordsman. Why does he come here? People in the fire temple comprehended the fierce fire realm, but Jian Wushuang has comprehended the sword essence of gale and earth. Does he want to comprehend the fierce fire realm? A man can comprehend 3 realms at the same time. Are you kidding me? Swordsman is too ambitious. The more ambitious he is, the more foolish he is, trying 3 realms at the same time. Who is he? You are right. It's exceedingly hard to comprehend 2 realms at the same time. Even a peerless genius would suffer from fatigue if he comprehended 3 realms. Those disciples of Dragon Palace chatted with each other casually. Their voices were not loud, but not quiet either. They did not care whether Jian Wushuang heard it or not. Whatever they said, Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to them. He was still relaxing with closed eyes. Soon after, the palace master of the fire temple arrived. He looked at Jian Wushuang with amazement, and then sat and gave a lesson with his legs crossed. After an hour, this palace master of the fire temple waved goodbye, and the listeners started to leave. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, and a smile emerged. Since half a year ago, I have poured through the sword principle of fierce fire alone. I was confused about many things. However, the confusion has been cleared up after the palace master's lesson. Jian Wushuang was satisfied with this lesson. He had benefited a lot from it and was enlightened in many aspects. After that, Jian Wushuang left. In the palaces of the Dragon Palace, white-robed Palace Master White was walking slowly. Palace Master White. A figure appeared suddenly in front of Palace Master White. Temple Master, Yao. Palace Master White smiled. Did you finish your class? It is finished. Their comprehension depends on themselves. Temple Master Yao gave a slight smile and said, I came here for a reason. I saw the little disciple swordsman in the class when I was imparting knowledge. Temple Master Yao said directly. What? Palace Master White was shocked and said, Did swordsman go to your class? Yeah. Temple Master Yao nodded and said, The brat is noteworthy in the Dragon Palace. His potential absolutely could rank in the top 5 amongst all disciples of the Dragon Palace. That's why I informed you about him. I see. A serious expression emerged on Palace Master White's face. The next thing depends on you. You should exhort him not to waste much time comprehending the fierce fire realm. I'll leave, Temple Master Yao said, and then left. Palace Master White stood there with a saturnine and gloomy expression. I didn't expect that swordsmen would try to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire, doing 3 things at the same time, comprehending 3 sword essences at the same time. What is he thinking? Palace Master White gave a cold humph and then directly went to the manor where Jian Wushuang lived. In the manor, Jian Wushuang was practicing his sword skill diligently. Swordsman, Palace Master White appeared. Palace Master White. Jian Wushuang put away his sword and paid his respects. I have heard that you have exchanged for the sword skill of blood and fire in the secret pavilion yesterday, and attended the class of Temple Master Yao. Do you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire? The expression of Palace Master White grew cold. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Stupid. Idiot. Palace Master White was mad. The martial arts way is fraught with troubles. You are a young talent and have deep comprehension of the sword essences of Gale and Earth. It's highly possible for you to combine the Gale realm with Earth realm in the future. You will be amongst the top ranks if you are in the Yin-Yang Void realm. It's also likely for your strength to equal or even outclass the palace masters of the 4 halls of Earth, fire, water, and wind. You are promising, and our Dragon Palace also possesses the hope to cultivate one more top powerhouse. I have far higher expectations from you. But now, you are so overconfident that you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire. The cold gaze hardened in Palace Master White's eyes. Do you know that nobody has endless energy? Doing 2 things at the same time is the limit. Doing 3 things at the same time is ridiculous. I know that you think your strength will grow if you comprehend 3 sword essences at the same time. However, you will bear a greater burden. In history, some geniuses of the Dragon Palace had a higher comprehension than you. However, they could only comprehend 2 realms at the same time. Yes, there have been geniuses who comprehended 3 realms at the same time, but do you know their results? Take Ling Wuxiao, a genius about 10 years ago in the Dragon Palace, as an example. He was a matchless genius. He comprehended 3 realms at the same time and combined them perfectly. When he was in the initial Gold Core realm, he could kill a powerhouse who was in the exceptional Gold Core realm. He was way better than you. However, his speed of comprehending the sword essence became slower and slower. His cultivation was even stalled in a small bottleneck for many years, and his speed of improvement was also lower and lower. Finally, he was overtaken by other geniuses. Hearing that, Jian Wushuang felt overwhelmed. He didn't realize that he would be excoriated as soon as Palace Master White met him. Swordsman, you should recognize that the road of cultivation will not be reset if you go awry. Do you understand what I said? Palace Master White looked at Jian Wushuang. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded. Jian Wushuang was acquainted with what Palace Master White said. Okay, I have great faith in you. I believe that your future achievement will be greater than those of Bai Cheng and Su Lai. Therefore, you can't let me down. Palace Master White became calm. Okay, I have said what I should say. How you walk depends on you. Go ahead. After saying that, Palace Master White left. Chapter 99. Chapter 99. Bold Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang stood with a solemn expression. Palace Master White is right. To learn 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time is to do 3 things simultaneously. It is too difficult, but that is only for ordinary geniuses, not for me. Jian Wushuang didn't think he was superior and better than other geniuses. However, his circumstances were quite different. I practiced the heavenly creation skill. It is a defiant form of cultivation. It is different from others. I have also awakened my sword soul and have completely mastered it, while others have not. Jian Wushuang clearly knew what road he should take. The burden was really too heavy for others to master 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time, but it was easy for Jian Wushuang to do it for his sword soul, which had awakened. After staying in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year, he learned 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time, which was equal to doing 3 things simultaneously. But he still comprehended them at an amazingly fast speed, way beyond anyone's imagination. There were only 3 kinds of sword essence, which was definitely not his limit. If there was a chance, he was even eager to study the 4th sword essence of dripping water. After I have completely awakened sword soul, the speed at which I study the sword essence is much faster than others. With such a powerful sword soul, if I only concentrated on studying sword essence of the gale and the earth, I would be wasting all my talent. Jian Wushuang's eyes were resolute. He agreed with Palace Master White's opinion, but he would not follow that advice blindly. After all, he decided on what path he would take. 2 days later, the Temple Master Yao in the Fire Temple gave another lecture, and Jian Wushuang went there to listen once more. When Jian Wushuang appeared again, Temple Master Yao showed a little weird expression. In the lecture, Temple Master Yao directly said, "On the road of martial arts, do not get distracted. It is necessary to remember to devote yourself to studying one road until the end. Then the ultimate result you will achieve will be much better than those who are distracted." Temple Master Yao casually said it, but many disciples of Dragon Palace who listened to the lecture knew that he was talking about Jian Wushuang. So did Jian Wushuang, but he just shrugged with resignation. After Temple Master Yao finished his lecture, many disciples of Dragon Palace went out of the temple one after another. After leaving, Jian Wushuang indistinctly heard people discussing. Who did you think the words of Temple Master Yao referred to in today's lecture? Undoubtedly, he referred to swordsmen. Well, I guess so. He is particularly gifted at sword essence of the gale and the earth. However, he is insatiable, even expecting to master the sword essence of raging fire. He is so courageous that he could learn 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. It has been so hard for me to obtain one kind of essence. It is said that Palace Master White had warned him in person not to do too many things at one time. However, it is obvious that he is not following her advice. He is too arrogant to follow the advice of Palace Master White. In a manner of Dragon Palace, Nangong Jie as well as other 2 disciples of Dragon Palace gathered together and talked about Jian Wushuang. That swordsman is so bold and naive that he doesn't even listen to Palace Master White. He insists on studying sword essence of raging fire. He will soon come to an unfortunate end. Learning 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. Who does he think he is? What an idiot! I am treating him as my opponent, but never expected that he is such an idiot. Ha ha! Nangong Jie crazily and madly laughed. He was very jealous of Jian Wushuang and bitterly hated Jian Wushuang. The reason for jealousy was that Jian Wushuang had made such great progress after he joined Dragon Palace for only 3 months. He hated that Jian Wushuang had defeated him in front of so many people that he lost all his face and his 12,000 points were gone. Now, Nangong Jie was very pleased to know that Jian Wushuang was so arrogant as to study sword essence of raging fire. However, Palace Master White, who warned Jian Wushuang, was furious after hearing that Jian Wushuang did not follow her advice and continued to study the sword essence of raging fire. Bastard! Arrogance! Ignorance! This guy, does he really think he is so great? Palace Master White was so disappointed about this. There were lots of disciples of Dragon Palace, even many outstanding and talented people such as Bai Cheng and Su Lai, who were senior people, and even Yang Zhaixuan, who passed the 8th level of Dragon Gate as soon as he came into Dragon Palace. However, she thought most highly of Jian Wushuang as he progressed so quickly, and she hoped that he would obtain huge achievements in the future. But now, Jian Wushuang was not satisfied with sword essence of the gale and the earth. He insisted on studying sword essence of raging fire. How could she not be sad or angry? Let it go. Palace Master White suddenly calmed down and said, he chooses his own way. Others can't force him to change. Since he wants to take the extreme way, just leave him alone. It's a shame given his talent. Alas! Palace Master White slightly sighed and quickly stopped thinking about it. After that, she put Jian Wushuang to a lower level in her heart. In the manner, Lao San, I hear a lot of disciples of Dragon Palace talking about you, and they say you are at the fork of your cultivation. What's exactly going on? Wang Yuan asked with frowning. I also heard about it. Su Ro said. There is nothing special. Jian Wushuang immediately told them briefly. Lao San, Palace Master White had warned you in person not to study the sword essence of raging fire. Should you not follow her advice? Wang Yuan asked, feeling surprised. Although what Palace Master White said made sense. I'm the one that knows myself best and exactly what to do next, Jian Wushuang replied. Really? Wang Yuan stopped frowning and immediately laughed. Lao San, I trust you. Since you think this choice is right, it is certainly right. As for others, nobody cares what they are thinking. Even Palace Master White may be wrong. Obviously, Wang Yuan disagreed with what Palace Master White said. I agree with you. You should go your own way. What other people say is just a reference, Su Ro said. Jian Wushuang felt touched and warmed to the bottom of his heart, affectionately looking at Wang Yuan and Su Ro. Well, it's time for you to work hard at cultivating. Then your strength will prove that you were right when others look at you, Wang Yuan said, and laughed. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. As time passed, Jian Wushuang persisted in cultivating his own way, ignoring the disciples of the Dragon Palace doubts. Whenever there was a temple master of Fire Temple using swords, Jian Wushuang would get there to listen to their lessons. Thus, his comprehension of the sword essence of raging fire did not fall behind at all. 7 days passed quickly. In his manner, Jian Wushuang finished practicing swordsmanship and was sitting beside the stone table. He took out a pot of wine and drank it. 10 days passed. After getting the bottleneck-breaking elixir, I immediately swallowed it. But I didn't sense the sign of a breakthrough until now. It seems that the first bottleneck-breaking elixir is unable to take effect. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. Chapter 100. Chapter 100. Going through the Dragon Gate Pass again. bottleneck-breaking elixirs offered Jian Wushuang the possibility of breaking through the bottleneck. But it might not work. Jian Wushuang thought it was normal that he could not break through if he only took one bottleneck-breaking elixir. Therefore, Jian Wushuang swallowed another bottleneck-breaking elixir. I hope the second bottleneck-breaking elixir works, Jian Wushuang expected. At this moment, it's so boring to drink alone. With a bright laugh, a burly scarlet-robed man who carried a saber was walking here. Su Lai. Jian Wushuang lifted his brow. Why are you so free to come here today? Jian Wushuang invited Su Lai to sit down with a smile, and then took out a pot of wine. As for Su Lai, Jian Wushuang did not mind him, and even had a favorable view of him. Although Su Lai had vanquished him in front of many people, it was a fair defeat using Su Lai's strength without any tricks or schemes. Jian Wushuang accepted it. It was a good thing for him to be vanquished by Su Lai, because he could have a deeper understanding of the Dragon Palace, at least. Actually, it is Palace Master White that let me come here. Su Lai took up the wine above the desk and directly said, Palace Master White. Jian Wushuang was surprised. To be honest, Palace Master White has faith in you. After hearing about you comprehending the sword essence of raging fire, she immediately exhorted you not to do it. But you ignored it. She asked me to come here because she didn't want to lower herself to exhort you again, Su Lai said with a smile. Okay, I see. Jian Wushuang nodded and said, what Palace Master White said makes sense. However, I have my own reasons to insist on doing this. I understand. Su Lai laughed and said, therefore, I don't want to remind you further. However, I have to let you know that was following the directive of Palace Master White when I competed with you last time. Oh, Jian Wushuang was really surprised. Was it Palace Master White that ordered Su Lai to violently compete with him last time? As a rookie, it might not be a good thing to be too outstanding. Therefore, Palace Master White asked me to dampen your pride. In fact, it was good for you, Su Lai said. Ah. Jian Wushuang immediately understood. The birth of the expert was like iron tempering iron. So, swordsman, Palace Master White is truly good to you. It doesn't matter if you don't follow her advice, but you must work hard. You should be sure not to let her down, Su Lai said. I will keep that in mind. Jian Wushuang nodded. You should certainly do so. I have said what I came here to say. I have also drunk wine. Now I have to leave. Su Lai smiled and then left. In front of the stone table, Jian Wushuang sat there alone, staring at the flagon with calm. What Su Lai said is right. Palace Master White is good to me. I can't let her down. Now, I should verify that the road I chose is right. The top rule of the world was that whoever possessed the strongest strength was the king. Now, everyone looked down on him and regarded him as a man filled with hubris. Nobody would dare to doubt him if his strength improved to an unprecedented height. This kind of strength needed proof. In the Dragon Palace, the most suitable place to verify his strength was the Dragon Gate. In front of the huge golden penthouse, after entering Dragon Palace, two disciples of Dragon Palace were casually chatting with each other. Very good. You even competed with the level keeper on the 5th floor for such a long time. You will complete the 6th floor soon. Not too bad. It's better than last time at least. The two disciples of Dragon Palace were on the 5th floor, but their talents were just average in Dragon Palace. Suddenly, the black-robed young man Jian Wushuang slowly walked over carrying a long sword. Look, swordsman. It's him. Does he also want to enter the Dragon Gate Pass? The two disciples stopped and looked toward Jian Wushuang. Under their gazes, Jian Wushuang directly entered the Dragon Gate. He has entered the Dragon Gate. Which floor will he be able to reach? At least the 6th floor. He has the strength to make it after he vanquished Nangong Jia. Now 6 months have passed. Passing the 7th floor is not a surprise. The two disciples were talking. They did not hurry to leave, quietly waiting. In the Dragon Gate, Jian Wushuang began at the 5th floor because he had gone through the 4th floor last time. The level guardian of the 5th floor was a green-robed man who had comprehended the earth sword essence. Jian Wushuang was defeated by the green-robed man when he went through the Dragon Gate Pass first time. Now 9 months had passed. Jian Wushuang competed with him again. However, the green-robed man was defeated by Jian Wushuang with just one move. Jian Wushuang went through the 5th floor of the Dragon Gate. Following the 6th floor, in a magnificent palace, Palace Master White sat on a chair and flicked through a book. The book recorded the comprehensions of a top expert. Palace Master White had been studying it closely over this period. Although she was a master of the Dragon Palace, there were still powerhouses stronger than her in terms of strength within Tianzong dynasty. Thus, she had to continue to cultivate. Suddenly, the gate of the palace was opened. "Your Excellency, Palace Master," a purple-robed servant rushed in front of Palace Master White. "What happened?" Palace Master White put down the book and looked toward the purple-robed servant. "It's Swordsman. He is going through the Dragon Gate," the purple-robed servant replied. "Swordsman?" Palace Master White raised her eyebrows. In the past, she did think highly of Jian Wushuang. But now, the status of Jian Wushuang in her heart was lower than before. However, she still asked, "It's not surprising for Jian Wushuang to go through the Dragon Gate because he is a disciple of the Dragon Palace. He has gone through the 8th floor," the purple-robed servant said. "So what?" Palace Master White still did not care. But he went through the 8th floor merely by virtue of his sword essence of raging fire, the purple-robed servant said again. "What?" Palace Master White changed her expression. If Jian Wushuang merely went through the 8th floor, Palace Master White would not be surprised. After all, Jian Wushuang could almost go through the 7th floor when he vanquished Nangong Jia. He would surely make a great progress with his talent after going outside to cultivate for 6 months. Palace Master White expected Jian Wushuang to pass through the 8th floor. However, it was totally different if he went through the 8th floor merely by virtue of his sword essence of raging fire. It should be known that Jian Wushuang initially comprehended the sword essences of the gale and the earth. The sword essence of raging fire was comprehended later. She was angry about it. Jian Wushuang could go through the 8th floor merely by the sword essence of raging fire. Which floor would he go through if he also executes the sword essences of the gale and the earth? "Are you sure?" Palace Master White stood and looked at the purple-robed servant solemnly. "It's true. The level keeper of the 8th floor told me that," the purple-robed servant replied. After obtaining verification from the purple-robed servant, the expression of Palace Master White grew more solemn. Go to the Dragon Gate." Palace Master White forsook what she was doing and directly walked toward the Dragon Gate. At the same time, it completely shocked the whole Dragon Gate. Chapter 101. Chapter 101, Shocking the Dragon Palace. In the manor where Jian Wushuang lived, Wang Yuan was refining a stove of pills in his own room. It was at the key moment. Fatty Wang, Shouts came into the room. Wang Yuan, who was concentrating on refining pills, was distracted all of a sudden. His facial expression changed before a careless move caused the stove to explode and the pills in it disappeared. Damn it, which bastard wasted my medicinal materials? I will kill him if he cannot give me a good explanation. Wang Yuan, dusty and dirty, kicked the door open and walked out, finding 2 disciples of Dragon Palace who had a good relationship with him, waiting for him outside. What is going on? Wang Yuan asked unhappily. You are refining pills again. The stove exploded, didn't it? Seeing that, the 2 disciples of Dragon Palace couldn't help laughing secretly. Shortly, one of them said seriously, Fatty Wang, swordsman is going through the Dragon Gate Pass now. He has passed the 8th level. You better go and see. You care about him as he is your brother, isn't he? 3rd brother? He is going through the Dragon Gate Pass. Wang Yuan startled. Then his eyes become bright. He has passed the 8th level. Not only has he passed the 8th level, it is said that he did it with sword essence of raging fire only. The whole Dragon Palace is in shock. Everyone from Dragon Palace is there, and we too came to tell you as soon as we heard the news. That man continued, passing the 8th level with sword essence of raging fire only. Wang Yuan's eyes were shown even more. Aha, let's go. Let's go to have a look right now. Oh, wait a minute. You go first. I will tell 4th sister to go with me. Wang Yuan said. Okay, hurry up. We have told you the news. Soon Wang Yuan and Su Ro, who was cultivating earnestly in her room, just now walked together to the Dragon Gate. Outside Dragon Gate, there were huge crowds of people. Except those who were adventuring outside, almost all the disciples of Dragon Palace were there. Genius disciples like Bai Cheng, Su Lai, and others who rarely showed up but were capable of passing the 8th level were there too. Su Lai, I didn't expect you would come. Bai Cheng glanced at Su Lai. Aha, I didn't expect you would come, too. Su Lai smiled and said, rarely a fantastic talent appears in Dragon Palace. Of course I want to have a look. Bai Cheng snorted without saying another word. However, looking at the golden tower in the front, his eyes flashed strangely. Swordsman, Jian Wushuang. Bai Cheng's eyes were cold. Target of Scarlet Kill Command. His Excellency in Gray personally ordered me to act decisively and kill him whenever I got a chance. But it is in Dragon Palace. To kill him is not easy. Openly, Bai Cheng was a top genius in Dragon Palace. In fact, he belonged to Blood Feather Tower. He was a spy in Dragon Palace sent by Blood Feather Tower at a huge cost. Many disciples present were talking about swordsmen. What a surprise! All of us thought multitasking was impossible, and that it was stupid to comprehend sword essence of Gale, Earth sword essence, and sword essence of Raging Fire at the same time. However, he has passed the 8th level of Dragon Gate with sword essence of Raging Fire only. Tut-tut! The news that Jian Wushuang passed the 8th level with sword essence of Raging Fire only had spread throughout Dragon Palace. At first, some of them doubted about it. However, when they arrived at the Dragon Gate, they met the level keeper of the 8th level. He admitted that he was defeated by Jian Wushuang with sword essence of Raging Fire only. They burst into an uproar. No one doubted it anymore. Then, they were waiting to see how far Jian Wushuang could go. Passing the 8th level. So what? Even if he succeeded with sword essence of Raging Fire only, what would that prove? Maybe it is because he put all his energy in comprehending it, but neglected sword essence of Gale and Earth sword essence. I'm afraid he comprehends sword essence of Raging Fire the most now. Unexpectedly, someone snorted and said those words. It was Nangong Jia, who had prior history with Jian Wushuang. At the beginning, all of them didn't have any expectations of Jian Wushuang. Even Palace Master White was extremely disappointed that he comprehended 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. However, Nangong Jie was happy to see this. But when he heard that Jian Wushuang had passed the 8th level with sword essence of raging fire, he was jealous. I'm sure that swordsman is best at sword essence of raging fire. He will go as far as the 8th level. To pass the 9th level is impossible. If he did it, I would change my first name with my last name. Nangong Jie groaned. He said loudly. Many disciples of Dragon Palace around him nodded after hearing that. They thought Nangong Jie was in the right. If Jian Wushuang really made great progress while comprehending sword essence of raging fire, gale, and earth at one time, it was truly in defiance of the natural order. Of course, no matter what the results would tell. In the 9th level of Dragon Gate, the level keeper in it was a red-haired, strong man. Comprehending raging fire knife principle, he fought with a saber in an overbearing way. And Jian Wushuang fought back with sword skill of blood and fire based on sword essence of raging fire. One strike after another. Each one was going to all out, causing flames which could destroy everything. He had been fighting with the red-haired strong man for a long time. Swordsman, I know you, and know that you are most good at sword essence of gale and sword essence of earth. Use them all, otherwise you can't defeat me with sword essence of raging fire only. Suddenly a saber split while he was talking, and the air was split in half in an instant. When Jian Wushuang was deflecting the saber of the red-haired strong man, the corners of his mouth quirked up. I have been studying sword principle of fierce fire in the last half a year. Finally, I could display the 6th move of sword skill of blood and fire. However, it could only help me pass the 8th level. Fighting with the level keeper at the 9th level, he is totally suppressed. And more important, the level keeper doesn't do his best. Jian Wushuang shook his head and smiled. Then he did not keep his strength hidden any longer. Be careful. After saying it, Jian Wushuang thrust out his triple kill sword immediately. Wow, it crossed tens of meters in a moment. So did the sword light. Fast, so fast. It was too fast to react in time. Formless swordsmanship, the 6th move. The red-haired strong man opened his eyes wide. However, Jian Wushuang had already stepped toward the 10th level. The 9th level passed. The truth was that Jian Wushuang defeated him with only one move when he didn't hide his strength. In the 10th level, his opponent was a woman in black who used a long spear. She comprehended dripping water and gale at the same time, and her spearmanship was fast and powerful. This time, Jian Wushuang totally suppressed her with both sword essence of raging fire and sword essence of gale. Finally, the strength of earth-ground realm in his body was unleashed. After several rounds, he defeated her. The 10th level passed. Chapter 102. Chapter 102, a big explosion. On the 11th level of Dragon Gate, a black-robed lady stood there with a jet-black long staff in her hands. You, a warrior who is only in the spiritual sea realm, managed to pass through up to this level. Excellent. The black-robed lady coldly looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "Show me all your strength." "As you wish." Some fighting intent rose in his eyes. Without the aid of resources from Dragon Palace, he had meditated and cultivated alone in the endless mountain range for half a year. However, he had generated a sword-shaped phantom in his mind when his sword soul completely woke half a year ago. After generating the sword-shaped phantom, he reached a totally new level in comprehending sword essence. Because of that, Even though he spent half a year in the endless mountain range on his own, his comprehension speed was faster than it would have been in Dragon Palace with aid from various resources. There are 13 levels in total. The higher you go, the tougher the challenge is. As for the opponent of the 11th level, they are definitely much stronger than the 10th level. I will use you to test my progress from this half of a year. Come on. Jian Wushuang unleashed his strength to the limit. At the same time, 3 kinds of sword essence, earth, gale, and raging fire, also soared. How much progress had he made in the last 6 months? This battle would answer that. Boom! The air instantly split as a terrifying sword shadow was unleashed. The black-robed lady felt as if an immense mountain was heading toward her, with a vast power that made her hold her breath. Formless sword wave, the 10th move. The black-robed lady was shocked. Formless sword wave only has 14 moves. He can actually use the 10th move. How did he gain such great comprehension into sword essence of earth at such a young age? Although it was frightening, the black-robed lady took action immediately. That black long staff immediately flew out like a soaring dragon. The black-robed lady only had comprehension in sword essence of earth, but she had reached an extremely high level. She was at least at a higher level than Jian Wushuang. After hearing the sound of a loud collision, Jian Wushuang changed his movement and directly thrust his long sword. The 6th move of formless sword arts. The black-robed lady immediately reacted, but the next moment, sword skill of blood and fire slashed towards her again. The sword essences of gale, earth, and raging fire. Jian Wushuang had perfectly transitioned between 3 kinds of sword essence and maximized their power. I have an extremely high comprehension of these 3 sword essences, but it's unfortunate I haven't managed to combine them. So far, I'm only able to perfectly transition between them. Otherwise, my sword arts would be infinitely more powerful than they are right now, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. After comprehending different kinds of sword essence, it was not only possible to perfectly transition between them, they could also be combined. Perfectly transitioning just meant moving from one sword essence to another, but they were still completely separate from each other. When combined, 2 different sword essences could be simultaneously released at once. One sword stroke consisting of 2 different kinds of sword essence, which was naturally much stronger than a sword stroke with only one kind of sword essence. Obviously, it was much easier to transition, yet extremely difficult to combine. But I'm able to defeat you by perfectly transitioning between the 3 sword essences. A sharp light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes as he released his full strength. 3 different sword essences. Sometimes it was the massive and vast sword essence of earth with monstrous vigor. Sometimes it was the ethereal and light sword essence of gale with incredible speed. And sometimes it was even a berserk and violent sword essence of raging fire with terrifying power. Faced with the perfect transition and display of 3 sword essences, the black-robed lady could only try her best to strike back. But in the end, she did not manage to fight back and was completely suppressed. Once she was suppressed, the result was obvious. In a single moment, the black-robed lady was defeated. The 11th level passed in the air above the nearby Dragon Gate. 10 powerful figures stood there using Void Walk. Obviously, all of them were supreme experts in the Yin-Yang Void realm. Palace Master Black and Palace Master White were the leaders among them, while the others were Palace Masters of the 4 temples of Earth, Fire, Water, and Wind. Recently, I tried to persuade him in person, suggesting that he should not waste effort attempting to comprehend sword essence of raging fire. But a few days later, he passed the 8th level with only sword essence of raging fire. How ironic, Palace Master White said without any irritation. He isn't sneering at you. He just wants to show you that he is right, commented another Palace Master before laughing. Not necessarily. To do 3 things at once is still extremely difficult. He did make progress in Sword Essence of Raging Fire, but he may make small progress or no progress in the other 2 Sword Essence. So what's the point? Palace Master White said, shaking her head. Even now, she persisted in her opinion. To do 3 things at one time was essentially wrong. What do you think? How many levels can the young man pass through? The Palace Master Black, who had been silent this whole time, suddenly asked. Merely with Sword Essence of Raging Fire, he passed the 8th level. Even if he didn't make much progress for the last 6 months, he is likely to pass the 9th level by perfect transitioning between the 3 different Sword Essences, given his high comprehension in Sword Essence of Gale, as well as Sword Essence of Earth. Well, the 9th level. It is possible, but it is also the limit. Maybe, after all, the higher the level of Dragon Gate is, the tougher the challenge is. It was easy for him to pass the 8th level. However, even if he uses the 3 Sword Essences, he isn't likely to pass the 9th level. But I still think that he can make it. The group of Palace Masters was casually talking and laughing. Suddenly, a dazzling golden light shined from the 9th level of the Golden Pavilion. Ha! He passed the 9th level. Several Palace Masters laughed at once. In the square outside of the Dragon Gate, many disciples of Dragon Palace were in a turmoil. But the turmoil only persisted for a short while. Zoom! The 10th level of the Golden Pavilion lit up a minute later. Then, the same dazzling golden light began shining from the 11th level. The 10th level passed. The 11th level was also passed. In the air above the nearby Dragon Gate, the Palace Masters were silent, staring at the Golden Pavilion with eyes full of shock and disbelief. Was it possible? Jian Wushuang was able to squeeze through the 7th level 6 months ago. With the passing of only half a year, could he have really passed the 11th level? How can this be? My God! The 11th level. Has he really passed the 11th level? Terrifying. It is too terrifying. Who just said that he might not even pass the 9th level? Those Palace Masters in the Yin-Yang Void Realm were all in shock. The speed that Jian Wushuang comprehended Sword Essence far exceeded their imagination. They had thought that if Jian Wushuang made rapid progress in Sword Essence of Raging Fire, he might not make much progress in the comprehending the Sword Essences of Gale and Earth. After all, only 6 months had passed. If Jian Wushuang comprehended 3 Sword Essences during this time, it seemed impossible for him to make too much progress under normal conditions. All of them thought so. But what was the truth? What did they see? The 11th level. Jian Wushuang passed the 11th level, didn't he? What did that mean? At that moment, all of the Palace Masters present, including Palace Master Black and the Palace Master White, were filled with disbelief. Especially Palace Master White, who had spoken with Jian Wushuang in person, seen him pass the 8th level merely with fierce fire sword principle, but still persisted in her opinion. But now, Palace Master White only felt her face burning. Chapter 103. Chapter 103. Bright Future. The Palace Masters were very surprised. Naturally, everyone in the square outside of the Dragon Gate was even more shocked. The 11th level of the Dragon Gate. Will he pass it? Is that even possible? Generally speaking, passing the 7th level of the Dragon Gate means his comprehension in the essence realm of heaven and earth is on a par with a master in the initial Yin-Yang Void realm. By comparison, passing the 8th level should make him equal to an average warrior in the Yin-Yang Void realm. Therefore, Passing the 9th level, like by Chung, means he is much stronger than many masters in Inyang Void Realm. Passing the 11th level. What a monster! How old he is. It is said that he is 17 years old now, right? A boy of 17 years old, passing the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. It caused a great stir in the square. Below the arena, everyone shouted in shock. Aha, the 11th level, that's definitely my third brother. How amazing would it be if he passed it? Wang Yuan was the happiest one among the people present. He was so proud of his brother that his voice rang out in the square. Though he had limited talent and could only pass the 4th level of the Dragon Gate, even now, he had a brother who was a genius. The 11th level. Su Ro's beautiful eyes were also full of shock. That guy, Su Lai, stood at the edge of the square with a saber on his back, looking at the sparkling golden light on the 11th floor of the Golden Tower. He couldn't help marveling at it. Even for masters on the earthly dragon list, I'm afraid only the top 10 could comprehend so deeply and pass the 11th level. However, while standing in the crowd at this moment, Nangong Jia was staring at the Golden Tower with a look of horror. How is that possible? Isn't this impossible? Nangong Jia was muttering to himself. Who said that if my brother passed the 9th level, he would change his first name with his last name? Wang Yuan said sarcastically. Hearing that, the people present looked at each other speechlessly. Nangong Jia's face was aflame with embarrassment. He could only hide his face in shame. At a corner of the square stood by Chung, a white-haired man wearing white. He looked grave while staring at the Golden Tower. Sir Greyrobe, you told me to kill him whenever I got a chance. But how? Bai Chung roared and snarled in his heart. He is at the 11th level. I could only pass the 9th level by doing my utmost. He is much stronger than me in comprehending the essence realm of heaven and earth. It is impossible for me to kill him outside, let alone inside Dragon Palace. Bai Chung understood his own strength clearly. Compared with Jian Wushuang, he was only stronger in cultivation of spiritual power. After all, he was in profound gold core realm, while Jian Wushuang was still in the spiritual sea realm. Even so, his power would be equal to someone in initial gold core realm if he fully brought out his potential. Together with his high comprehension in sword essence, Jian Wushuang could face him without fear. Bang! The giant door of the Golden Tower opened, and Jian Wushuang walked out slowly with his long sword on his back. He passed the 11th level, but in the 12th, the opponent was much stronger than the woman in black. In the 11th, much stronger than him, too. Therefore, Jian Wushuang was quickly defeated. In front of the Dragon Gate, as soon as Jian Wushuang showed up and looked around, the whole square suddenly turned quiet. Holding their breath, all people present stared at Jian Wushuang, the person who had just defied what was considered to be common sense. Suddenly, there was a deafening shout. Aha, third brother! Wang Yuan and Su Ro ran towards him immediately. Awesome! Amazing! Wang Yuan patted Jian Wushuang on his shoulder. He smiled and said, The 11th level, I did not think that you would pass from the 5th level to the 11th level of the Dragon Gate without a break, right after returning. You really never cease to amaze us. Go, let's go get a drink. We must drink to celebrate. Okay. Jian Wushuang didn't say no. Then he walked directly towards his manor under everyone's gaze. Though Jian Wushuang had left, people in the square still talked about him. Many disciples of Dragon Palace were even still in shock. Above the nearby void. Ah, Palace Master White, you misjudged him this time, said another palace master while laughing. Don't laugh at me. if you found out that he had great talent in comprehending the sword essences of Gale and Earth, but didn't focus on them. Instead, trying to comprehend another one, sword essence of raging fire. Wouldn't you be worried? You would act the same as me. Palace Master White raised her eyebrows and smiled. She had been disappointed in Jian Wushuang because of that. However, what he had done today raised her expectations towards him more than ever before. And she was happy about it. He surprised me, Palace Master White couldn't help saying. Not only did he comprehend 3 kinds of sword essence at one time, but he made great progress in all of them. It's amazing. Temple Master Yao nodded and highly praised him. We looked down upon him. That's true. We did look down upon him. No one expected that he was such a genius, nor that he could defy what we normally accept as common sense. We have seen lots of geniuses, but exceptional geniuses like him are so rare that even in Dragon Palace, there is only one every few decades. He dares to comprehend 3 kinds of sword essence at one time, not following the suggestion of Palace Master White. He doesn't care about whether people in Dragon Palace look down on him. In the very next moment, he proved that he chose the right path by going through the Dragon Gate. Though he is arrogant, I like him. We thought he was wasting his talent, but now it is really ironic. Comprehending 3 kinds of sword essence at one time is impossible for many with normal talent. However, for those geniuses, the truly exceptional geniuses, even comprehending 4 kinds of sword essence at one time is possible, let alone 3, Palace Master Black said suddenly. Everyone present looked over at Palace Master Black. Does no one remember Crazy Saber from 100 years ago? Palace Master Black looked around and asked, Crazy Saber? Each palace master's heart missed a beat. It was obvious that they all knew of him. He was able to comprehend 3 kinds of saber essence at one time. Not only that, he achieved great success in all 3, even combining them with high combat effectiveness. He was called the strongest in the Yin-Yang Void Realm, and he kept the leading position on the Heavenly Dragon list for decades. Isn't that terrifying? Palace Master Black said. Hearing that, all of the palace masters present were respectful. They all knew how formidable Crazy Saber was. Palace Master Black continued. Swordsman's strength may be not a quarter of Crazy Saber's, but he has as much talent as Crazy Saber. In a word, he has a bright future. Chapter 104. Chapter 104, Supreme Gold Core Realm. Back at the manor, Wang Yuan directly took out some wine. I see nectar? There was a sparkle in Jian Wushuang's eyes. You seldom drink it. Ha, but we are happy today. So drink whatever you can, Wang Yuan said in a generous tone. It's a pity that Zai isn't here. Otherwise, we would enjoy ourselves even more today. Jian Wushuang silently laughed, but suddenly his expression changed as a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Yuan, Ro, I'm afraid that I'll have to drink the wine with you a little later, Jian Wushuang said. What's wrong? Wang Yuan looked at him quizzically. I feel that I will have a breakthrough soon, Jian Wushuang replied. Breakthrough? Wang Yuan immediately asked with his eyes wide open. Break through the gold core? Su Ro immediately looked at him as well and asked. Jian Wushuang just winked at them. In the room, Jian Wushuang was sitting on the couch with his legs crossed and had a deep sparkle in his eyes. The bottleneck breaking pill is worth 5,000 points. Even though I did not get the chance of a breakthrough after I swallowed the first pill, I got it within 1 day after I swallowed the second one. He was very happy and surprised. It seemed that the spiritual sea realm was only 1 step away from the primordial gold core, but actually the disparity between them was astonishingly great, especially for Jian Wushuang. who was cultivating the heavenly creation skill, breaking through the gold core was definitely his top priority. After all, the primordial gold core was the only real expert in the Tianzong dynasty. Let's do it, Jian Wushuang said to himself. Jian Wushuang did not dare to waste any time. He had come here to begin the breakthrough as soon as he had realized that he had the chance. He was holding a golden sun pill tightly in his hand, and then swallowed the pill right after he began to make the breakthrough. Shortly after, the ultimate spiritual sea and spiritual power surged up in Jian Wushuang's body. At the same time, the power of the heavenly creation skill was running in his body. Suddenly, a terrific suction burst out from his body, and then the heaven and earth spiritual energy from all directions poured into Jian Wushuang's body at an amazing speed. Jian Wushuang was crazily absorbing the power. When Jian Wushuang absorbed the last heaven and earth spiritual energy along with his breath, the power in his body had reached its limit. Suddenly, the vast spiritual power crazily rushed toward the barrier. Bang! There was a muted thud. Jian Wushuang seemed a little bit quiet. The bottleneck had been broken through. The next task is achieving the supreme gold core realm. Jian Wushuang thought. The heavenly creation skill was totally different from common cultivation methods. It was the primordial gold core, when ordinary warriors broke through the gold core, while it was supreme gold core, when the gold core was broken through via the heavenly creation skill. Above the vast spiritual sea, the spiritual power was crazily surging, which was accompanied by a touch of purple light. This purple light was an embryo. It was very small, however. It was extremely dazzling, and it became more dazzling and bigger under the vast surging spiritual power. Finally, a purple gold core slowly formed, the size of a baby's fist. At the right moment when it was formed, the surface of the gold core split, and shortly after, 2 golden fringes appeared. Finally, the gold core became purple gold. Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes. There was a beam of blue-white light that brushed over his dark pupils. It's the supreme gold core realm. I have achieved it, Jian Wushuang said to himself. On the couch, Jian Wushuang twisted his neck a few times, accompanied by the clear sound of bones cracking. He slightly clenched his palms, and suddenly he could feel a strong power, which made him smile. The next minute, Jian Wushuang exerted the strength in his palms toward the void in the front of him. Bang! Suddenly, a burst of a crisp sound filled the whole void. Supreme Gold Core Realm. This is the Supreme Gold Core Realm, Jian Wushuang said with his eyes gleaming. Jian Wushuang did not realize what the real Supreme Gold Core Realm was until he had actually achieved it. The same as the 9th heaven of the divine path and the ultimate spiritual sea in the past. Supreme gold cores were pretty different from the ordinary gold cores. Supreme gold cores were way more powerful than the common primordial gold cores. Up till now, my achievement was just in the initial gold core realm, yet now I've just achieved the supreme gold core. However, I feel my spiritual power is 100 times more powerful than the ordinary initial gold core realm, Jian Wushuang said with great surprise. He just threw a punch into the air with 50% of his power. However, the power that erupted from his body was far more powerful than in the profound gold core realm. If I punch with 100% of my power will be comparable with the normal exceptional gold core realm. Maybe I am even more powerful, Jian Wushuang thought. The strength that erupted from the initial gold core realm could match that in the exceptional gold core realm. What does that mean? Only the unbelievable heavenly creation skill can incredibly achieve this, Jian Wushuang thought. The heavenly creation skill, all its movements were unbelievable and different. For the spirit path level, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was that he had 2 more realms than they had. For the level of spiritual C, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was that he had limitless spiritual power. However, for the primordial gold core realm, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was the strength. Strength erupted from the gold core. The strength that erupted from the supreme gold core was 100 times more powerful than the gold core at the same stage. The strength that erupted from the initial completion of the gold core realm could match the exceptional gold core realm. Starting today, I am an expert in the Tianzong dynasty, Jian Wushuang thought. He stood up, and there was a vigorous breath that emanated from him. With the power equal to the exceptional gold core realm, plus the sword essence apperception at the 11th level of the Dragon Gate, how powerful am I right now? I'm not sure if I can beat the powerhouses on the earthly dragon list, Jian Wushuang thought, with his hands clenched tightly. Once Jian Wushuang achieved the supreme gold core realm, the ordinary disciples of the Dragon Palace would be no longer his competitors, including Bai Cheng. The only person who could compete with him was Su Lai, who was on the earthly dragon list. But Jian Wushuang was pretty confident that he could compete with Su Lai. He was 90% sure that he could beat him. In the manner, Wang Yuan and Su Rou were waiting for Jian Wushuang. It's unbelievable that Wushuang dared to go through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. In addition, right now he had another chance at a breakthrough if he could achieve the primordial gold core realm successfully. Whoa, Wang Yuan said with admiration. Su Rou agreed, while slightly nodding her head. Jian Wushuang went through the 11th level sword essence of the Dragon Gate. If he could achieve the gold core, his power would reach a high level. Squeak! Suddenly, the door in Jian Wushuang's room was opened. The next moment, Jiang Wushuang went inside slowly with a confident smile on his face. Wang Yuan and Su Rou looked at him immediately and realized what happened right after they noticed the gold core scent emanating from his body. Finally, Jian Wushuang had achieved the breakthrough. Chapter 105. Chapter 105. Su Rou's request. Haha, he made a breakthrough. Wang Yuan immediately stood up, laughing brightly and loudly. He has a gold core aura. Su Rou was stunned because she perceived something unusual. Although Jian Wushuang just made a breakthrough, the gold core aura concealed in his body was more powerful than warriors in the profound gold core realm. As usual, if Jian Wushuang didn't actively exhale it, ordinary people couldn't feel it. But Su Rou could perceive it because of her special circumstances. Therefore, she was very astonished. He is only in the initial gold core realm. So how could his gold core aura be so powerful? Although it seemed strange, Su Rou wasn't going to ask about it. After a brief pause, Jian Wushuang walked over. Come on, third brother, have a drink. Wang Yuan promptly took out some good wine. Jian Wushuang didn't refuse this time. He directly took the glass, looked at it, then drank it. That's great. Not only did you reach the gold core realm, you also passed the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. I believe that nobody would dare to make trouble for me in the whole Dragon Palace because of you, said Wang Yuan while laughing loudly. Wang Yuan was less respected in Dragon Palace because of his weak strength. But now things would change. Like the old saying, tall trees provide the best shade. Apparently, Jian Wushuang had become a tall tree. Third brother. Su Rou was about to say something, but she stopped. What's wrong? Jian Wushuang looked at her. Would you do me a favor? Su Rou asked. What do you need help with? Jian Wushuang asked, then slightly smiled. They were like family to him, so Jian Wushuang was frank and treated them sincerely. Although fourth sister, Su Rou, was a woman of few words with an introverted and delicate character. She would never shrink back at a crucial moment. Su Ro and Yang Zixuan had stepped forward to assist Jian Wushuang when he was forced to compete with Su Lai. As family, what they did made Jian Wushuang feel grateful. Thus, he would not decline them if they turned to him for help. I received news 2 days ago that a black water lotus was found in the endless mountain range. It will be completely mature in a few days. The black water lotus is useful to me, Su Ro said. Black water lotus. Jian Wushuang was intrigued by it. He had also heard that the black water lotus was a very rare natural treasure. Not only could the black water lotus be used to refine pills, it had an even more important use. It could breed black water lotus seeds, which would be an immeasurable help when trying to comprehend a sense of the water drop. It was said that if, while comprehending a sense of the water drop, one absorbed the black water lotus seed, they would greatly improve their comprehension in essence of the water drop. In Tianzong Dynasty, many warriors who studied a sense of the water drop were willing to pay a high price to procure a black water lotus seed. Do you want the black water lotus seed to help you comprehend sword essence of the water drop? Jian Wushuang asked. No, I want the black water lotus instead of its seed, Su Ro replied. What she said surprised Jian Wushuang. The seed was the most valuable part of the black water lotus. As for the black water lotus itself, it was actually useless. Logically, she should be striving for the seed to help her comprehend essence of the water drop. But she cared more about the black water lotus. Why? The black water lotus is very valuable in Tianzong Dynasty. Many warriors who meditate on essence of the water drop are very eager to get it. So, once the black water lotus blooms, many experts will struggle for it, Su Ro said. My cultivation has reached the profound gold core realm, and my comprehension is pretty good. However, I'm not confident I can acquire it in front of all those people. Jian Wushuang understood. Do you want me to help you fight for the black water lotus? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes. Su Ro nodded. I had thought that I should turn to Second Brother for help when he came back, or ask some strong disciples of Dragon Palace for assistance. But now that you have made a breakthrough into the gold core realm, I see. Jian Wushuang laughed and then asked, When will we leave? Su Ro was delighted and replied, In 2 days. Okay, I will go with you, Jian Wushuang promised at once. Though Jian Wushuang promised Su Ro, he was a little curious. Why did she have no interest in the seed, but care so much about the black water lotus? 2 days later, Jian Wushuang and Su Ro departed. When they walked through Dragon Palace, the disciples of Dragon Palace couldn't help looking at Jian Wushuang. That is swordsman. What a monster. Is he going outside to train? I heard that he reached the gold core realm. The disciples of Dragon Palace were discussing Jian Wushuang, but without being envious. After all, when a person's strength greatly exceeded their imagination and reached an incredible level, they would naturally feel respect instead of envy. Now, they realized that compared with Jian Wushuang's strength, it was like they were in 2 totally different worlds. So why compete with him? Outside Dragon Palace, 2 golden-armored sergeants, riding griffins, were already waiting for them. Let's go. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then he left on a griffin, heading towards the endless mountain range with Su Ro. Nobody knew that as soon as Jian Wushuang left, Bai Cheng reported it to Blood Feather Tower. In a dim study, an old man in gray sat on a chair with 2 purple-masked assassins standing respectfully in front of him. Jian Wushuang has left Dragon Palace. The old man in gray raised his head, looking directly at them in a cold manner. It is said that Jian Wushuang has passed the 11th level of Dragon Gate, which shocked the whole Dragon Palace. And now he has even formed his primordial gold core. What's more, he is 17 this year. Bang! The old man in gray heavily slapped the desk, which made the green wooden desk break into pieces. He suddenly stood up and burst out with a raging voice. A 17-year-old with a primordial gold core. A 17-year-old man who passed the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. How could he progress so fast? If he keeps making progress at such speed, he will easily destroy Blood Feather Tower in a few years. When hearing this, the two purple-masked assassins who were standing there respectfully began to tremble. Listen, collect as much intelligence as you can. Find out where he is going. Find him. The first and second squad of Blood Shadow are on call. Once you find Jian Wushuang, you must immediately kill him, regardless of the cost. This time, definitely do not give him any chances. If he escapes again, everyone involved in this mission, including both of you, will be executed. The old man in gray had an extremely cold expression. His killing intent shrouded the whole room with an ice-cold feeling. After hearing that both of the purple-masked assassins couldn't help swallowing, then they immediately left. Chapter 106. Chapter 106. A Gathering of Experts. Endless Mountain Range. The number of warriors in the Endless Mountain Range increased after the discovery of the Black Water Lotus was spread. Although the Endless Mountain Range was filled with countless connected mountains, there were still some lakes and streams. The Quiet Moon Lake was a normal lake in the Endless Mountain Range. However, with the appearance of the Black Water Lotus, Quiet Moon Lake was doomed to be turbulent. Near Quiet Moon Lake, there were huge crowds of people talking with each other in twos and threes. It was like a jamboree. So many people. Neither Jian Wushuang, a man in the initial Gold Core realm, nor Su Ro, who was in the profound Gold Core realm, were noteworthy in this crowd. After all, the warriors preparing to grab the Black Water Lotus seed were almost in the Gold Core realm. Among them, experts in the exceptional Gold Core realm were more than a few. Naturally, nobody would pay attention to Jian Wushuang and Su Ro, but they were happy to be able to walk around leisurely, even casually picking an empty spot to sit down. Very few people have comprehended a sense of the water drop among these people. Most of them were employed to fight for that Black Water Lotus seed. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Like in Golden Dragon Palace, Golden Dragon Guards could be hired as long as you paid a high enough price to issue tasks. Some people with low strength but a good background would employ experts, offering them a high fee to fight for the Black Water Lotus seed. Hundreds of experts are here, and more are coming. I guess that there will be a violent and tragic fight when the Black Water Lotus appears, Su Ro said, then glanced at the center of Quiet Moon Lake. A dark lotus could be seen resting there. It was the Black Water Lotus that was particularly important to her. Don't worry. Judging by its appearance, I expect that the Black Water Lotus will finish blooming in 2 or 3 days, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. At this moment, hey brats! A harsh voice suddenly sounded out as a red-haired muscle man came over and said in a low voice, "This spot belongs to us now. You can get lost." Why? Some of the people were instantly disgruntled. Jian Wushuang and Su Ro also looked at them because they were sitting in that area too. "If you don't do what I said, I will kill you." The red-haired muscle man stared at those disgruntled people. At the same time, following behind the red-haired muscle man, a line of people arrived. Their leader was a well-groomed man who held a fan. "Have you found the spot?" The voice of this well-groomed man was cold, and his expression plainly showed a vestige of arrogance. Seeing this well-groomed man, Those disgruntled people in the area were shocked. He is Master Mubai? Yes, it is Ling Mubai, ranked 96th on the Earthly Dragon list. People from the Earthly Dragon list are here as well. Being on the Earthly Dragon list was what all warriors in the Gold Core realm desired the most. Ranking on the Earthly Dragon list was the dream of numerous people. Tianzong dynasty was vast, and warriors of the Gold Core realm were countless. However, merely 100 people were qualified to rank on the Earthly Dragon list. Naturally, all of them were true experts, and each one was famous. Now, a warrior on the Earthly Dragon list had arrived. This naturally caused a bit of a stir. Since you recognize he is Master Mubai, get lost. That red-haired muscleman shouted brutally. Immediately, those people who were previously malcontent with the red-haired muscleman got up and left cautiously. Let's go too, Jian Wushuang said. Then he and Su Ro both left the area. Of course, Jian Wushuang made a concession, not because he was afraid of Ling Mubai. He just felt it was unnecessary to breed enmity with him. Though Ling Mubai appears mild and gentle, he is actually very ferocious, Su Ro couldn't help saying. In this fight for the Blackwater Lotus Seed, the arriving experts on the Earthly Dragon list are absolutely not only Ling Mubai. However, when the fighting begins, those experts will be seen as the main adversaries by others because of their fame. But we are different from them, Jian Wushuang said, and smiled. Neither of us are known to the public. Our realm is ordinary, without anything that stands out. Nobody knows how strong we are. Therefore, we will take advantage of that when the real fighting for the Blackwater Lotus begins. Yeah. Su Ro nodded. She also understood. Time was fleeting and 3 days passed quickly. During these 3 days, a cascade of warriors in the Gold Core realm had arrived at Quiet Moon Lake, one after the other. Now, the number of warriors by Quiet Moon Lake was more than 10,000. Among those people, there were a lot of famous experts. Not to mention the experts with great strength and reputation in Tianzong dynasty. Just the people from the Earthly Dragon list counted 6. These 6 experts ranking on the Earthly Dragon list was extremely outstanding compared to everyone else. Look, he's Fire Lion, ranked 63rd on the Earthly Dragon list. Bloodknife 2Xian, he's also here. Look, that's Master Mubai. He's mild and gentle as usual. She's Ziyang, that crazy woman. Even she is here. In the crowd, profusions of warriors were discussing amongst themselves, and they mostly focused on the experts on the Earthly Dragon list. Fire Lion, 2Xian, Ziyang, and Ling Mubai are all less than rank 60 on the Earthly Dragon list. They are not the real experts. Jian Wushuang talked with Su Ro casually. On the Earthly Dragon list, higher ranking meant more strength. Of the 6 present Earthly Dragon listed experts, only 2 could actually be a serious threat to Jian Wushuang. The first one was a purple-robed man carrying a 2-section long spear on his back. Although he was in his 20s at the most, his dark eyes were incomparably chilly, and the atmosphere around him was terrifying. Magic Spear Gu Tao. He ranked 39th on the Earthly Dragon list. It was said that Gu Tao was an orphan who grew up in a bandit camp. A heart full of killing was formed because of his rough experiences when he was young. He comprehended a sense of the water drop, so the Blackwater Lotus Seed was highly useful to him. And the other one was a very carefree, cyan-robed, middle-aged man. The cyan-robed man wore a casual garment and was currently relaxing the trunk of a big tree, holding a flagon while drinking in a carefree manner with a red face. Xiao Mang had become famous 10 years ago. At that time, he was already on the earthly dragon list. But now, 10 years later, he was ranked 22 RD on the earthly dragon list. He ranked the highest among the 6 present experts on the earthly dragon list. Meanwhile, Xiao Mang didn't comprehend essence of the water drop. He was not invited to help fight for the black water lotus seed by anyone here, so he was by himself. However, he had come. Chapter 107. Chapter 107. Fighting someone on the earthly dragon list. Magic Spear Gu Tao and Xiao Mang, the 39th and 22nd ranked experts on the earthly dragon list, are much stronger than the other ranked warriors here, especially the latter. Jian Wushuang's dark eyes couldn't help turning towards the carefree middle-aged man who was relaxing on a branch. Although he seemed carefree, the cyan-robed man brought Jian Wushuang greatest pressure out of everyone there. Just one single black water lotus attracted so many experts. It's completely unimaginable. There are even so many earthly dragon list experts. We are in big trouble, Su Ro commented with a stern look on her face. There is trouble, but it doesn't mean we have no chance, said Jian Wushuang. Third brother, based on your current power, can you compete against these earthly dragon list experts? Asked Su Ro. Su Ro knew Jian Wushuang was very powerful. His gold core aura was far above the profound gold core realm, and his comprehension of sword essence allowed him to pass the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. Jian Wushuang's actual power should be much stronger than a warrior in the exceptional gold core realm. But how strong was he really? Su Ro had no idea. With the exception of Xiao Mang, I am sure I can defeat the others one-on-one, Jian Wushuang answered. Su Ro was stunned for a second. To be honest, after breaking through to the gold core realm, I understand a little about my strength, but I can't judge exactly how strong I am. After all, I've never fought against an earthly dragon list expert. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then asked, how about you? As for me, if I fight with my full power, I can barely beat one of them. I mean one who is ranked above 60th. I am too much weaker than Gu Tao and Xiao Mang, said Su Ro. Oh, Jian Wushuang was really surprised. Of course, Su Ro just reached the profound gold core realm, and her comprehension of essences was only enough to pass the 7th level of the Dragon Gate. This level of strength could barely compete against an average person in the exceptional gold core realm. Yet Su Ro dared to say that she could barely fight against an earthly dragon list expert. My fourth sister really has a lot of secrets. Jian Wushuang sighed to himself. Since a long time ago, he realized that Su Ro had a big secret. After all, she was only 15 years old, a 15-year-old girl at the profound gold core realm. How marvelous! How could a common person attain that? On top of that, Su Ro, who understood essence of the water drop, was only interested in the black water lotus itself rather than its seeds. It was quite strange. Now, Su Ro dared to say that she could barely fight against an earthly dragon list expert. All in all, Su Ro appeared extremely different. Of course, although Jian Wushuang knew that Su Ro had some secrets, he did not intend to ask about them. Everyone had their secrets. Su Ro had some. So did he. Suddenly, at that moment, a disturbance took place near Quiet Moon Lake. Both Jian Wushuang and Ru Ro looked in that direction. What they saw was a thickly built, red-robed, old man slowly walked toward Lord Ling Mubai. I am Ding Mo. I've heard of Master Mubai's name long ago. How lucky to meet you today. I specifically came here to challenge you. This red-robed old man's sonorous and resonant voice immediately spread around the whole Quiet Moon Lake. Someone wants to challenge Ling Mubai. Ha ha! Finally someone puts forward a challenge. Who's Ding Mo? Never heard of him. I know about Ding Mo. I have heard of him. He's a famous three-clawed golden dragon guard. He fiercely fought against 3 people in the exceptional gold core realm at the same time, and even managed to kill them all in the end. All the warriors near Quiet Moon Lake became excited. In fact, since these earthly dragon list experts turned up by Quiet Moon Lake, many people had assumed that someone would challenge them. Being on the earthly dragon list could make one famous around the world. This was a gold core warrior's dream. Many confident gold core warriors were eager to challenge the earthly dragon list experts. However, the number of these experts was limited, so it was hard to meet them normally. However, the fight for the black water lotus seeds had attracted at least 6 earthly dragon list experts. The gold core warriors who were eager to enter the earthly dragon list and confident about their strength would never miss such a great opportunity. Now, the warrior named Ding Mo appeared. Being challenged in front of so many people, Lord Ling Mubai's gentle face immediately became cold. Ding Mo, where did a nobody like you come from? I've never heard of you. Ling Mubai scratched his own ear. After today's fight, you will know about me. Not only you, but everyone in the whole Tianzong dynasty will know my name. I will be on the earthly dragon list and become famous around the world by using your name as a stepping stone, said the red-robed old man in a low voice. Hearing these words, the audience burst into an uproar. Get on the earthly dragon list using my name as a stepping stone? How arrogant! Aren't you afraid such big words crush your tongue? Ling Mubai's complexion turned colder. Ha! There is no other way. There are at least as 6 earthly dragon list experts here, and your rank is the lowest. If I don't challenge you, who should I begin with? Ding Mo asked while grinning. You must want to die. Now, Ling Mubai was infuriated. With a low-voiced shout, his body suddenly rushed out. Perfect! Ding Mo burst into a laughter. His ignitus-gloved palm suddenly clenched and became a fist. A gust of strong spiritual power gathered into the center of his palm. Like a burning drill, the red fist burst forward. The fist instantly crashed into the cold blade light that suddenly appeared in front its owner. Bang! A huge sound echoed as 2 terrible forces exploded at the same time. At that moment, the spiritual power produced by 2 experts formed into gusts of wind, wildly sweeping in all directions. Ripples appeared in the surrounding air. The great number of primordial warriors standing around were also engulfed, some of whom closed their eyes immediately. A few relatively weaker warriors even had trouble standing straight in the face of this gust of wind. Ling Mubai's complexion changed a little. Evidently, he never thought that the man in front of him, whom he had never heard of, could bear one of his slashes head-on. What's more, his opponent showed no sign of being suppressed. Bang! A sharp snap was heard from the air. It was Ding Mo's fierce palm. Ling Mubai also thrust out ferociously. As the 2 palms touched each other, the violent spiritual power wildly exploded again. Ha! Ling Mubai, let's fight with our full strength, said Ding Mo, completely releasing his power. At that moment, his whole body seemed to have been transformed into an ancient ferocious beast, with 2 arms like sturdy hooves. An immense force could be felt from the terrifying and continuous attacks. Every time his fists passed by, the area would tremble with a deafening, wind-breaking noise. Enormous power soared to the sky, with an overwhelming aura. As for Ling Mubai, his finger looked like a knife, with dazzling blade light bursting out continuously. Every blade flash surged, with an amazing power and essence of the water drop. Their fierce fight turned white-hot in an instant. By Quiet Moon Lake, numerous gold core warriors were spectating with full attention. Chapter 108. Chapter 108, the black water lotus blooms. Awesome! Is that the strength of an expert on the earthly dragon list? Too strong. Even though I am in the exceptional gold core realm, when facing off with Ling Mubai, I wouldn't be able to resist a single attack from his palm. Ding Mo is awesome as well. His fists were very erratic, but he was even stronger than Ling Mubai in terms of momentum. The warriors of the gold core realm looked attentively at them, full of excitement and boiling blood. Standing side by side at a corner of Quiet Moon Lake, Jian Wushuang and Su Ro also witnessed the fierce battle. Is this the strength of an expert on the earthly dragon list? Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Good. His cultivation has reached the peak of exceptional gold core realm. Moreover, I think he could pass through the 8th level of the Dragon Gate with his comprehension. Ling Mubai is at the bottom of the earthly dragon list, ranking 96th. Therefore, his strength isn't too terrifying. The higher ranked on the list, the stronger they are. Not surprisingly, warriors out the top 50 of the earthly dragon list could easily pass through the 9th level of the Dragon Gate with their comprehension, Su Ro said. Agreed. Jian Wushuang nodded. Then he sighed, secretly, and said, It seems that Ding Mo is strong enough to be listed on the earthly dragon list since he has fought with Ling Mubai head-on. Though there are only 6 experts of the earthly dragon list here, the number of warriors who are strong enough to enter the list is much more than 6. At the moment, the battle between Ling Mubai and Ding Mo was drawing to a close. It was hard to tell which one was stronger in the fierce battle. Finally, Ling Mubai won by a narrow margin. Although he won, he squeaked through it. Ding Mo, who could almost be matched with Ling Mubai, is also very awesome. That was close. Ling Mubai nearly lost. Ding Mo is strong enough to enter the earthly dragon list. After the battle, everyone present would remember the name of Ding Mo. But not long after that. Fire Lion, do you dare to fight with me? To Xian, you are named Blood Saber? So am I. Since we met, surely we should have a battle and see who is stronger. Ziyang, right? You are the only woman among the 6 experts of the earthly dragon list. I have no choice but to challenge you. Since that, many people challenged those 6 experts of the earthly dragon list. Apparently, the challengers were also very strong. In fact, many of the people present were not interested in the black water lotus seed at all. They came here especially for challenging the experts of the earthly dragon list or watching their battles. Soon, many exciting battles had started. Third brother, there are many experts on the earthly dragon list. Would you like to challenge one? If you defeated one face-to-face, your name will be famous throughout the world, Su Ro said. I don't need to. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said, When the fight for the black water lotus starts, I will have to face them. At that time, I'll have a chance to defeat them. Have you noticed that out of the many challengers, none challenged Gu Tao and Xiao Meng? Instead, Ling Mubai was challenged the most. Jian Wushuang said with a smile. I noticed, but it's normal. He ranks the lowest among them. Surely he is the weakest target, Su Ro said coldly. Jian Wushuang could not help laughing. The sun was setting. Soon it was dusk. Near Quiet Moon Lake, it was still bustling with challenges and battles were still going. However, at that moment, in the center of Quiet Moon Lake, the budding black water lotus started to bloom. All the black petals expanded. In seconds, that black water lotus burst into full bloom with a refreshing aroma permeating the air. Many warriors of the gold core realm at Quiet Moon Lake smelt it. Suddenly, shwa, everyone looked towards the black water lotus. The black water lotus was in full bloom. At the very center of the flower laid 7 black water lotus seeds. As soon as they saw them, many warriors in the Gold Core realm were filled with burning desire. The black water lotus had bloomed. So did the black water lotus seeds. There were even 7 seeds. Grab them. Go. Go, go, go. Ha ha. The party has started. Many low voices from Gold Core warriors were raised at the same time as they all quickly rushed towards the black water lotus at the center of Quiet Moon Lake without hesitation. Fourth sister, go. Jian Wushuang's eyes burst out dazzling light, too. Immediately, both he and Su Ro rushed towards the black water lotus. In only a moment, many of the warriors gathered around Quiet Moon Lake had rushed in. Pia, 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 Pia. The soles of their feet splashed across the top of the water. Warriors of primordial Gold Core couldn't void walk, yet like those supreme experts in the yin-yang void realm. But they could walk on the surface of the water. Soon, many experts had gathered there. From afar, they looked like hornets. The experts on the earthly dragon list rushed in front, including Gu Tao, Fire Lion, Butcher, and the rest. The black water lotus seed is useful for me in comprehending essence of the water drop. 7 seeds in total. I must get at least 3. Magic spear. Gu Tao had a determined look in his eyes, and he was burning with killing intent. But at that moment, a figure flickering like a ghost rushed ahead of Gu Tao, Fire Lion, and others towards the black water lotus. What? So fast? It's him. The expert ranked 79th on the earthly dragon list, Celestial Fox Healing. Many warriors of the Gold Core realm instantly recognized him. It seemed there were only 6 experts on the earthly dragon list. However, they didn't notice that Celestial Fox He Ling was hiding in the dark. The biggest advantage He Ling had was his incredible speed. Once he displayed his power, he was much faster than Gu Tao. It should be known that Gu Tao ranked 39th on the earthly dragon list. Of course, fast speed didn't mean that he could easily get the black water lotus seeds. Bastard, you want the black water lotus seed? No way! Gu Tao shouted. Then he fiercely brandished the blood-red spear in his hands. At once the spear pierced through the air, and its sharp head appeared behind He Ling. Not just Gu Tao, but all warriors of the Gold Core realm, who were also rushing towards the black water lotus seeds, instantly attacked when they saw him closing in on the black water lotus. Kill him! Attack! Attack! Keep him away from the black water lotus. Being experts in the Gold Core realm, they could easily use their spiritual power to attack He Ling from a long distance. A great number of attacks immediately surged out. An innumerable amount of attacks swept towards He Ling. Chapter 109. Chapter 109. Heated Battle. Damn it! He Ling's countenance greatly changed. He hastily retreated, giving up the black water lotus. A large number of horrible attacks lost their target, instantly bombarding the surface of the lake. Boom! The whole Quiet Moon Lake was abruptly shaken. The massive lake water lifted up like a tsunami, generating a water curtain more than several meters tall. The water curtain kept rising, which blocked everyone's vision. Get in! Go! A lot of Gold Core warriors with great strength directly rushed into the water curtain without any hesitation, while those Gold Core warriors with weaker strength wavered because they couldn't see the black water lotus through the huge water curtain. Hurry up! Attack! Attack! Even if you can't see anyone, just attack, regardless of whether people are hit or not. Although a great many Gold Core warriors didn't rush into the water curtain, they were busy attacking toward the water curtain. All of the attacks were definitely launched at random without any targets. They didn't know whether it would hit someone or not, but they didn't care either way. If they could not have it, then they would not let those experts in water curtain have it either. They didn't even worry about whether or not they would destroy the black water lotus. After all, the 7 seeds were the most valuable. The black water lotus itself was useless. Besides, black water lotus seeds was less likely to be hit because of their small size. Even if the black water lotus was totally destroyed in the attack, it was unimportant. Almost 100 experts rushed into the water curtain, including Jian Wushuang and Su Rou. They all approached the black water lotus at their fastest speed. Therefore, there were 6 people closing in on the black water lotus. Respectively, they were Magic Spear Gu Tao, Ling Mubai, Butcher, Ziyang, Jian Wushuang, and Su Rou. Gu Tao stared at the 7 black water lotus seeds with great intensity. The black water lotus seeds belong to me, Gu Tao directly growled. Gu Tao, you are strong. But if you think you can keep all 7 black water lotus seeds by yourself, you're really looking down on us, the coquettish and gracious lady said in a cold tone. How dare you bastards compete with me? Get out! Gu Tao thundered. The blood-red spear in his hand released a great amount of power as it was instantly thrust out. The blood-red spear flickered out like a viper sticking out its tongue. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. He instantly pierced 5 times at the same time, piercing towards the 5 people near him. What's more, he did it at an amazingly fast speed. When seeing the bloody spear shadow piercing toward them, Ling Mubai, Butcher, and Ziyang immediately blocked it without any hesitation. However, after the power of the bloody spear shadow exploded, their expressions changed color, and they instantly retreated several steps. The blood-red spear also pierced toward Jian Wushuang and Su Rou. This move, Jian Wushuang suddenly felt shocked and said it would be enough to pass the 9th level of the Dragon Gate. At that moment, Jian Wushuang immediately became serious, wielding his triple-kill sword with powerful sword essence of earth. Clang! When the sword edge clashed with the blood-red spear, Jian Wushuang used his power to directly knock back the blood-red spear. Once the long spear was knocked back, Gu Tao's offensive disintegrated. He was unable to pierce towards Su Rou with the 5th move. Gu Tao raised his head, looking at Jian Wushuang in surprise. Although it was not his strongest strike, the blood-red spear was strong enough to hold back 3 experts of the earthly dragon list like Ling Mubai. However, this obscure person in the initial gold core realm withstood it. Not only did Jian Wushuang succeed in withstanding it, he instantly pierced toward Gu Tao's throat with the flash of a cold sword light. It was so fast that Gu Tao's face couldn't help changing color. He immediately stepped back. Gu Tao was forced back by Jian Wushuang, while Ling Mubai and other 2 men were forced back by Gu Tao. Now, Jian Wushuang felt delighted because he and Su Rou were the closest to Black Water Lotus. However, before he could pick up the Black Water Lotus, he found that a massive attack was heading towards them. Shit! After noticing it, Jian Wushuang's face changed color. All these attacks, launched by warriors in the Gold Core realm who were staying outside the water curtain, were driftless and random. However, the direction of all attacks pointed to where the Black Water Lotus was. Under normal circumstance, Jian Wushuang could easily avoid those attacks. But right now, he could not retreat. He knew that the Black Water Lotus was behind him. In order to get the Black Lotus seeds, those ordinary warriors could destroy Black Lotus because they did not care about the lotus itself. But Jian Wushuang could not let it happen. What Su Rou wanted was Black Water Lotus itself. 4th sister, take the Black Water Lotus and leave this to me, Jian Wushuang said with a growl. Okay, Su Rou replied without hesitation. She knew that she wasn't allowed to hesitate in this situation. Seeing the massive attack heading towards them, a sharp light quickly flashed through Jian Wushuang's eyes. Then, a powerful sword essence of earth was released. Reincarnation sword skill. Swoosh! Sword shadows slashed out in rapid succession. When massive attacks were about to land, boom, 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 boom. A succession of impacts sounded out with hardly any pause. Although every attack wasn't very strong, the number of attacks was too great. Jian Wushuang had to make perfect use of the reincarnation sword skill, trying his best to withstand them. Fortunately, he had perfect control of the reincarnation sword skill. When wielding the sword skill, he created a rainbow sword flash, which seemed to be a barrier of sword essence to keep out of all the attacks. Finally, Jian Wushuang was merely forced to step back several meters by the impact force. Well, those people can't clearly see what is in the water curtain. They are just randomly attacking, so I can withstand them. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang rejoiced and looked toward Su Ro. At that time, Su Ro had been reaching out to pick up the black water lotus. Stop! Gu Tao thundered with rage in his eyes. Leave the black lotus seeds. Ling Mubai, Tu Xian, Ziyang, and many other experts in the gold core realm were very frightened and angry. Although they were raging, they couldn't stop Su Ro from such a long distance. Su Ro was going to successfully pluck the black water lotus. Suddenly, a cold sword light directly chopped towards Su Ro. The blade flash was ice cold and dazzling, with overwhelming power. Where it passed, there was nothing. When the ice-cold blade flash appeared, many experts in the water curtain greatly changed color and became panicky. Even experts of the earthly dragon list like Gu Tao and Ling Mubai were flustered and filled with dread. Their pupils suddenly shrunk while looking at the incoming blade light. Chapter 110. Chapter 110. Sword shadows and blade lights collide. This blade move. Su Ro had almost had the black water lotus when she suddenly noticed the dazzling cold blade. It seemed it could split the heaven and the earth, and it was slashing directly toward her. This blade light made everyone shiver. Su Ro's expression paled immediately. At the same time, she judged that the blade was aiming for her arm. If she continued reaching for the black water lotus, her entire arm would be chopped off. Her armor, the black water lotus. Su Ro picked the former without hesitation. She retracted her hand as she retreated rapidly. Just as she drew back her hand, the gleaming cold blade light swept past where her arm had been. Swoosh! Chopping through the air, the blade light gradually faded away. However, a huge crack, dozens of meters long and half a meter wide, emerged across the surface of Quiet Moon Lake. It looked as if the lake had been split in half. Then, the water on both sides of the crack began flooding into the center. Whoosh! A nimble and unrestrained figure in cyan appeared abruptly and picked up the desired black water lotus with a simple stretch of his hand. Only later did people look at his gently smiling face. The whole Quiet Moon Lake turned still immediately. The high-rise water curtain had descended, and now all the people around Quiet Moon Lake could see the figure in cyan holding the black water lotus. Meanwhile, they also saw the huge crack that nearly tore the lake in two. Everyone looked awed at that moment. "Fourth sister, are you all right?" Jian Wushuang came to Su Ro. "I'm fine." Su Ro shook her head, but her face stiffened. "Is that him?" Jian Wushuang looked at him, too. The unrestrained man in cyan was the top expert. He had paid so much attention to Xiao Meng. Xiao Meng ranked 22nd on the earthly dragon list. much higher than Gu Tao. There was no doubt his strength was more extraordinary. No one there, including Gu Tao, Ling Mubai, and the other experts on Earthly Dragon List, was confident enough to take on that glorious, yet extremely dreadful blade move. Not without getting hurt anyway. Xiao Mang. Gu Tao gazed at Xiao Mang and said with a grim face, "You've never comprehended essence of the water drop, and someone like you would never help others fight for the black water lotus. So the 7 black water lotus seeds should mean nothing to you." "You are right." Xiao Mang lifted his head a bit and glanced at Gu Tao, saying with a smile, "The 7 black lotus seeds do indeed mean nothing to me, so—" As he spoke, Xiao Mang reached out and picked off the 7 seeds in the center of the lotus, then released his grip in front of the astonished crowd. The 7 black lotus seeds dropped into the lake down below. All the gold core warriors there were speechless. Getting the black water lotus, using overpowering strength, then throwing away the most precious part, the lotus seeds, into the water. Xiao Mang obviously had no interest in the 7 seeds. "The seeds are of no use to me, but I can benefit a lot from the black water lotus. So I'll be taking the lotus. Anyone got a problem?" Xiao Mang said, as he looking around. Hearing what Xiao Mang said, everyone was elated. He only wants the lotus instead of the seeds. Gu Tao, Ling Mubai, and other experts on the Earthly Dragon List were surprised. The seeds of the black water lotus were helpful for comprehending essence of the water drop, but the flower itself could hardly be put to use. So the flower could not attract any of the gold core warriors there. "Xiao Mang, you may leave now, since you have the black water lotus," Gu Tao said bluntly. "Right, you can leave. We will not stop you," said Ling Mubai and other experts on Earthly Dragon List. Xiao Mang nodded and turned around slowly under everyone's gaze, but suddenly, whoosh, whoosh, 2 figures blocked his way. They were Jian Wushuang and Su Ro. Jian Wushuang stared at Xiao Mang and spoke to him, half smiling. However, his calm and cold words made the atmosphere tense up again. "Sorry, I also have no interest in the seeds, but I have to take the black water lotus." What Jian Wushuang said startled everyone around Quiet Moon Lake. What's that boy trying to do? Who is he? How dare he stop Xiao Mang? Someone in the initial Gold Core realm dares to stop Xiao Mang, and he even said he wanted the black water lotus too. Does he want to die? A majority of the Gold Core warriors there thought Jian Wushuang was insane, while those who had fought with Jian Wushuang in the water curtain were wearing a strange expression. This boy, Gu Tao, frowned and took a look at Jian Wushuang, whom he had just encountered. Although Jian Wushuang was just in the initial Gold Core realm, his strength was way beyond his realm. Jian Wushuang was calm, no matter how people stared at him. He didn't know why Xiao Mang also wanted the black water lotus, but he knew he had to win it back for Su Ro. Initial Gold Core realm. Xiao Mang raised his head and took a look at Jian Wushuang without saying anything, but he suddenly unsheathed the saber on his back. Swoosh! Blade light burst out again, still cold and dazzling. The overwhelming blade light slashed forward with irresistible force. Everybody stared at the blade light in astonishment. It was this blade flash that had nearly split the whole Quiet Moon Lake in half. What a dreadful blade light! Even Gu Tao, Ling Mubai, and other experts could not help feeling frightened the moment they saw it. While the blade light slashed towards him, Jian Wushuang still looked calm as ever, but in the next second, he drew his sword out from the sheath. Supreme Gold Core, a power that was 100 times stronger than the initial Gold Core realm, exploded in an instant. Formless sword wave, 10th move. Boom! The air was instantly split wherever that terrifying sword shadow directly passed. Right away, all the Gold Core warriors around felt like a majestic, huge mountain was pressing down on them from the sword, and the heavy load made them unable to breathe. The heaven and the earth was overshadowed by the majestic sword's shadow. The sword's shadow slashed forward at an incredible speed, splitting the water in the lake as it passed. Swoosh, swoosh. In a blink of an eye, two enormous waves were lifted on both sides of the sword's shadow. The next moment, the mighty sword's shadow crashed with the cold, shining blade light. It seemed like two different worlds collided. The heavens split, and the earth cracked. Chapter 111. Chapter 111, Jian Wushuang versus Xiao Mang. Bang! A thundering explosion was heard. The fierce collision caused the still water on Quiet Moon Lake to splash upward by several feet high instantly, together with the endless shower droplets and snowflakes. The risen water was like a tsunami, gurgling and rushing towards the surrounding areas directly and violently. Step back. Step back immediately. A large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm on the lake were shocked, and they were seen to step back immediately one by one. After the waves finally subsided, the present warriors of the Gold Core realm that had been drenched looked at the lake again, and this shocked them. The center of Quiet Moon Lake had become a depression of several meters depth, like a sinkhole. In the center of the sinkhole, two figures were battling over a distance of tens of meters. Around them, within 100 meters, there was not even a single figure. Everyone had been knocked back by that fierce collision. It was silent. The whole Quiet Moon Lake turned to silent immediately. In this silence, many eyes turned towards Jian Wushuang. Isn't it amazing that he was able to block that? He blocked that saber from Xiao Mang. What's more, he didn't even step back. Is he evenly matched with Xiao Mang? Everybody was shocked. They couldn't believe that just an initial Gold Core realm like him was able to block the saber from Xiao Mang and be his match. Gradually, the center of the depression was filled with water. Xiao Mang still appeared to be relaxed, but at this moment he was quite astonished. Interesting. Xiao Mang looked at Jian Wushuang with a subtle smile. It seems that if I want to take away the black water lotus today, I have to work harder. I'm also determined to win the black water lotus. So if you want to get it, you have to get through me. But I'm sure that you can't get through me, said Jian Wushuang coldly. You are so confident. In his eyes, Xiao Mang showed great interest. Then he glanced at the surroundings and said while shaking his head, "There are too many people here. If we fight with each other here, I'm afraid that it will be difficult for us to show our real strength. How about having the competition over there?" Xiao Mang pointed to a lofty mountain nearby and laughed. Jian Wushuang took a look of the mountain and nodded slightly. "Okay." "Haha, then follow me." Xiao Mang laughed, and they rushed toward the mountain directly. "Lao Si, you stay here," Jian Wushuang warned Su Ro. "Don't worry, I promise to get the black water lotus back." Then Jian Wushuang also rushed to the mountain directly. "Be careful," Su Ro reminded him, but Jian Wushuang was already out of her sight. On the Quiet Moon Lake, a large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm were still in shock. Who is that guy? Is he only at the level of initial Gold Core realm? It's too amazing. The power of that confrontation was too intense. There is no doubt that Xiao Mang possesses great strength. After all, he's established. But it's incredible that an initial Gold Core realm with a sword is evenly matched with Xiao Mang. Many warriors of the Gold Core realm were talking about that. Suddenly, Gu Tao, who stood on the water before, dived into the lake. Many people around were aware of this. Gosh, black water lotus seeds. Damn it, vie for it quickly. Black water lotus seeds in the water. Vie for it quickly. A large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm on the surface of water responded immediately. A crowd of warriors dived into the lake subsequently. Remember, Xiao Mang won the black water lotus just now, but he threw 7 lotus seeds into lake casually. Although it had been a while, 7 lotus seeds must be in the water. As black water lotus seeds had a unique fragrance, it was not difficult to find them. Soon, the first black water lotus seed was found. Immediately, a fierce slaughter erupted after the seed was found. When almost every warrior dived into lake water to search for the black lotus seeds, on the lake there was a girl in black named Su Ro staring at that lofty mountain with her dark eyes. Lao San. There was a little worry in the eyes of Su Ro. She wasn't worried about whether Jian Wushuang could bring the black water lotus back to her or not, but worried for the safety of Jian Wushuang. After all, the man that Jian Wushuang was fighting with was Xiao Mang, who was ranked the 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. And Xiao Mang had become famous on the Earth Dragon list for so many years, and during these years, he seldom fought with others, which was the reason why he was still ranked around the 20s. But as for his real strength, who knew? I hope Lao San can really match up with Xiao Mang. Even if he can't, as long as he survives, it will be fine. With a cold expression, Su Ro glanced at the lake underfoot, and the next moment, she also dived into the water directly to participate in the competition for black water lotus seeds. Whoosh, whoosh, 2 figures rapidly darted in the jungle one after another. After a while, both of them appeared at the top of the mountain, where boulders were found everywhere. It could be called a boulders forest. At a distance of about 10 meters, Jian Wushuang and Xiao Mang stood on different boulders, staring at each other. Until now, I don't know your name. Xiao Mang said, Swordsman from Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang answered, Disciple of Dragon Palace. Xiao Mang raised his brow. Well, as expected, only the legendary disciples of Dragon Palace are able to block me while at initial Gold Core realm. But you should know that I didn't try my best just now, said Xiao Mang. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then he added, Coincidentally, I didn't do my best either. Ha! This is much more interesting. Xiao Mang grinned. Then he took out the black water lotus and put it into the interspatial ring in front of Jian Wushuang. After that, Xiao Mang threw it aside, casually. The interspatial ring flew in a streak like a concealed weapons given its rapid speed. It hit a tree at the edge of mountaintop. Due to the force of the throw, it became deeply embedded in the trunk. The black water lotus is in the interspatial ring. After the battle, the winner can take it away, said Xiao Mang. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded, with a strong battle intent rising in his eyes. The similar desire to battle sparkled in the eyes of Xiao Mang. His blood had been still for a long time, but it started to boil at this moment. Chapter 112. Chapter 112. End of the battle. Haha, watch out! Xiao Mang roared and brought his leg crashing down. The huge rock underneath him instantly scattered into pieces. He crossed over the huge rocks at lightning speed, like a ghost, and showed up in front of Jian Wushuang in a blink of an eye. Then he quickly unsheathed his saber. The untouchable, astonishing knife essence fiercely gushed out, leaving Jian Wushuang almost breathless. And then, swoosh! A shining stroke covered the bright skies suddenly, slashing toward Jian Wushuang immediately. The air was cut apart. The blade flash hadn't even arrived, yet a lethal wind overwhelmed him. Jian Wushuang turned solemn as he realized that the essence in that single stroke of Xiao Mang was already at the 10th level of the Dragon Gate. Just come on, Jian Wushuang shouted, brandishing the triple kill sword from his hand. In a moment, the Earth Sword essence reached its extreme, and the 10th move of Formless Sword Wave burst out. Meanwhile, his power of the supreme golden pill realm climbed to the peak too. Bang! After a tremendous sound, Jian Wushuang felt that his arm was pushed down and his hand was numb. The huge rock under him had cracked because of the impact of the two terrible forces. If I battle him head-on, I will lose. Jian Wushuang suddenly became clearly aware of this. Haha, as an initial completion of the golden pill realm, you're actually weaker than me. Xiao Meng sneered at him. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Despite my supreme golden pill realm being in defiance of the natural order, which is even stronger than the normal fulfillment of the golden pill realm, Xiao Meng is at the level of top fulfillment of the golden pill realm, and his force of spiritual power is at the peak of golden pill realm. Based on power, he's stronger than me. A newly broken through initial completion of the golden pill realm, whose power was stronger than the normal fulfillment of the golden pill realm. This was already incredible and would frighten many people. Jian Wushuang was well aware of this. After all, Xiao Meng had reached the peak of fulfillment of the golden pill realm. Jian Wushuang needed to reach at least the top initial completion of the golden pill realm to compete him with power. It's tough to fight against him directly, but I can defeat him with my swordsmanship and sword essence. Jian Wushuang's eyes became colder, and he lifted his long sword. Turning into a viper suddenly, the sword circumvented Xiao Meng's saber and weirdly stabbed towards Xiao Meng's chest. Gale, Essence Realm? Xiao Meng felt surprised. His left hand gathered his mighty spiritual power and slapped quickly at the approaching sword shadow. It didn't entirely stop the attack of Jian Wushuang, but deflected his sword essence. The sword shadow passed beside Xiao Meng and failed to connect. Take my stroke, Xiao Meng growled. His hand clenched the saber and chopped it down with anger in an unbelievably domineering fashion. Jian Wushuang used a backhand stroke to withstand it. Bang! The huge rock under Jian Wushuang thoroughly scattered into pieces, as if concealed weapons had bombarded the surrounding rock. Moreover, Jian Wushuang was pushed back by this stroke. Without thinking, Jian Wushuang charged forward, and there was a raspy sound of wind, and the temperature rapidly rose. Sword skill of blood and fire, 6th move. Swoosh! The sharp and rapid sword light cleaved down and seemed to tear the world apart. Before it was the earth sword essence, just now it was the sword essence of Gale, and now it's the sword essence of raging fire. All with deep comprehension. Even Xiao Meng couldn't help being frightened after watching Jian Wushuang use these moves, including his sword essence of raging fire. I've known that the disciples of Dragon Palace are the eccentric geniuses, but never realized that they're such geniuses to comprehend 3 sword essences at the same time, and all to this high level. Xiao Meng was in shock. However, he parried with his saber and easily resisted the sword skill of blood and fire. Any of the 3 sword essences I've comprehended can't compare with your gusty wind essence realm, but it's enough to overcome you if I use them well. Jian Wushuang said. Ha, then just give a try. Xiao Meng laughed, looking amused. Boom! The terrifying roar continued, and the battle arrived at a key moment. At the same time, while Jian Wushuang was fighting with Xiao Meng, the battle for the Black Water Lotus Seeds at the Quiet Moon Lake was approaching the end as well. The warriors stood on the lake, and there were the dead bodies floating all around, at least more than 100. The blood dyed the Quiet Moon Lake red, which made it look like a scene of demonic hell. Seeing this, most of the surviving warriors of the Golden Pill realm were terrified. Their desire for Black Water Lotus Seeds was reduced. How tragic! This bloody battle couldn't be more violent. The majority of warriors of the Golden Pill realm were dead. Even 2 members on the Earth Dragon list were killed. The 2 dead warriors on the list turned out to be Ling Mubai and Fire Lion. Fire Lion was undoubtedly killed by Gu Tao, while it was Su Ro who killed Ling Mubai. This girl, Gu Tao, stood on the lake, looking at the black-robed girl in front of him with fear. The black-robed girl looked quite young, just about 15 or 16 years old, and her cultivation of spiritual power only reached the profound gold core realm. But this young girl suddenly erupted with an amazing power, killing Ling Mubai in a flash and grabbing a black water lotus seed. At this moment, the quiet moon lake returned to peace. The other warriors all escaped as soon as they carried off the black water lotus seeds, except Gu Tao and Su Ro, who rather stayed behind. Aware that the seeds were held by Gu Tao and Su Ro, none of the warriors of the Golden Pill realm around would dare to take any action. Without doubt, Gu Tao's strength was the best amongst them. The fact that he had killed Fire Lion clearly proved his strength, ranking 39 on the Earth Dragon list. It was only a fantasy to be able to seize the black water lotus seed from him. Even if the warriors of the Golden Pill realm fought together, Gu Tao could just run away if he was losing. But Su Ro, although she looked quite weak, had killed Ling Mubai, which is extremely frightening. Even Gu Tao didn't dare to fight against Su Ro. 7 black water lotus seeds, and I only attained 2. This girl kept the left one, but I can't look down on her. Gu Tao shook his head and gave up thoughts of grabbing the black water lotus seed from Su Ro. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm around didn't have the courage to start a battle with her either. Therefore, this severe battle finally came to an end.